Over the years, only 8 people have seen the Black Divine Pillar, and the most powerful person has only comprehended 70% of a secret skill. Jian Wushuang was stunned. He finally knew why Emotion was so shocked. It seemed that no one had ever comprehended a complete secret skill under the Black Divine Pillar. My friend, do you know who has comprehended 70% of a secret skill under the Black Divine Pillar? Emotion asked with a smile. Who is it? Jian Wushuang asked. It's one of the 3 palace masters of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces. Palace Master Shuiyun, Emotion said. Jian Wushuang was shocked. Although he had not really entered the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces, he had heard from Emotion that the 3 palace masters were very powerful. The 3 palace masters of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces were super-existences in the heaven-cleaving alliance, second only to the mysterious master. They had great power and status in the heaven-cleaving alliance. Although Jian Wushuang did not know how powerful the 3 palace masters were, he could guess that they were definitely at the top of the divine beginning world. Perhaps for some special reasons they were not as strong as the 3 most noble masters of the Saint Realm in the 3rd heaven, but they were definitely not much weaker. Such a super-existence had only comprehended 70% of a secret skill under the Black Divine Pillar. Palace Master Shuiyun is a true genius. He was once one of the genius disciples of the 3 palaces of heaven-cleaving mystic realm. When he was under the Black Divine Pillar of the heaven-cleaving mystic realm, he comprehended 70% of that secret skill. That secret skill became his famous ultimate move in the future. Until now, his secret skill has been well known in the divine beginning world. Many people immediately thought of his move when they mentioned Palace Master Shuiyun. It can be said that the reason why Palace Master Shuiyun is so famous in the divine beginning world and why so many people are afraid of him is largely because of his secret skill. However, he has only comprehended 70% of that secret skill. Emotion exclaimed. Jian Wushuang could not help taking a deep breath. Palace Master Shuiyun had also comprehended 70% of the secret skill from the golden characters in the Black Divine Column, but he had already achieved such a great reputation. But now, he had obtained a complete secret skill, 6 Paths Reincarnation. When I was in the heaven-cleaving mystic realm, I knew that this secret skill was very terrifying, even comparable to the space-time divine skill. Now it seems that I did not underestimate this secret skill. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands, feeling a trace of surprise in his heart. He had indeed picked up a treasure this time. In any case, you were able to obtain a complete secret skill under the Black Divine Pillar. This luck and fortune is indeed unprecedented. Congratulations, little guy, Emotion said with a smile. Jian Wushuang smiled, but suddenly his expression changed. Elder Emotion, I have already been to the heaven-cleaving mystic realm and obtained the opportunity. If nothing goes wrong, I will leave the heaven-cleaving star soon. But before that, I want to ask you something. What is it? Emotion appeared to be very patient. Senior, you should know about the Supreme Emotion Valley, right? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, I know. Emotion nodded. Although the sect is in the 2nd heaven and is not in the highest 3rd heaven, the reputation and strength of the sect is no less than those overlords in the 3rd heaven. Of course, I know about such a powerful sect. Why? Are you asking about the relationship between the Supreme Emotion Valley and the Supreme Emotion Valley? A little. Jian Wushuang nodded. Senior, can you tell me about the Supreme Emotion Valley in detail, including their overall strength and the cultivation techniques they practice? Overall strength? Emotion raised his eyebrows. I have just told you that the overall strength of the Supreme Emotion Valley is no less than some overlords in the 3rd heaven, the 3 holy regions, the 4 divine clans, and the octagonal heaven sect. Although the Supreme Emotion Valley is not as powerful as the 3 holy regions and the 4 divine clans, it is not much weaker than the octagonal heaven sect. In terms of experts, there are more than 10 known principles masters in the Supreme Emotion Valley. There are also some guest elders who have accumulated all kinds of human relationships over the years. Of course, in the Supreme Emotion Valley, the one who is the scariest, even the 3 great holy regions, the 4 great celestial races, and even our heaven-cleaving alliance are afraid of, is the reclusive Old Valley Master in the Supreme Emotion Valley. Although the Old Valley Master hasn't asked for the truth for a long time, her strength is very terrifying. How terrifying? Jian Wushuang asked. It's not inferior to the 3 palace masters of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces. Moreover, if that old woman really goes crazy, even if the 3 palace masters of the heaven-cleaving alliance come personally, they will have to avoid her because the divine skill she has mastered is too powerful. If she recklessly uses that divine skill, she can pose a threat to even a Saint Realm Master, Mo Shan said. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang's pupils constricted. He had long known that there was a very terrifying divine skill in the valley. Leng Rushuang had been taken away by the valley because she was suitable to cultivate that divine skill. Senior Mo Shan, I heard that most of the disciples of the valley have to abandon their feelings? Jian Wushuang asked again. Yes, Mo Shan nodded. Both the disciples and the experts of the Supreme Emotion Valley have no partners. This has something to do with the cultivation method and some secret skills cultivated by the Supreme Emotion Valley, especially the divine skill cultivated by the Old Valley Master, which can't be touched at all. But even wild beasts have some feelings, let alone humans. Therefore, there are too few people in this world who are suitable to cultivate that divine skill. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang could not help clenching his hands. My young friend, it seems that you have not only a dispute with the Supreme Emotion Valley, but also a big one, right? Mo Shan looked at Jian Wushuang. Seeing that Jian Wushuang was silent, Mo Shan continued, My young friend, no matter what grudges you have with the Supreme Emotion Valley, I have to remind you not to be impulsive. The Supreme Emotion Valley is very strong, and most of the people there are cold, ruthless, and decisive. With your current strength, you are nothing in front of the Supreme Emotion Valley. I know. Jian Wushuang nodded heavily. Then he asked, Senior Mo Shan, one last question. If I want to have a fair conversation with them, what level do I have to reach? A fair conversation with them? Mo Shan frowned and pondered for a moment. Then he answered, At the very least, you have to be an invincible immortal saint to make them not dare to underestimate you. As for a fair conversation, the Lord of Principles, the Principles Master? Jian Wushuang clenched his fists tightly. Only the Principles Master was qualified to have a face-to-face conversation with the Supreme Emotion Valley. However, Leng Rushuang was the second person whom the Supreme Emotion Valley had spent a long time and effort to find who could cultivate the Supreme Divine Skill. She was too important to the valley. The valley would not let Jian Wushuang take such an important person away, even if he was a Principles Master. After all, a Principles Master could only talk to the valley face-to-face, but he could not make the valley fear him. If he wanted to take Leng Rushuang away, he had to at least have the strength to make the valley fear him. Jian Wushuang conservatively estimated that he had to at least reach the strength of the 3 palace masters of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces. I'm only a rank 3 true saint now. I'm still far from that level. Jian Wushuang's face was cold, but he was not discouraged at all. Thank you for telling me, Elder Mo Shan, Jian Wushuang said gratefully. You're welcome. Mo Shan waved his hand and then looked at the peak true saint next to him. Take this little guy away. Yes. The peak true saint immediately went forward to take Jian Wushuang away. Mo Shan watched Jian Wushuang leave and sighed. Send this little guy away, and I can report back. In an extremely magnificent palace, there were tall steps on top of the palace. At the top of the steps, 3 thrones stood side by side. There was a blurry figure on each of the thrones. It was the 3 palace masters. Below the palace, Missouri Shan stood respectfully and said, Palace Master, the little guy has left the heaven-cleaving star. Has he left? A low voice came from the throne in the center. How long has he stayed in the heaven-cleaving mystic realm? What opportunities did he get? Mo Shan immediately told the truth about Jian Wushuang's opportunities in the heaven-cleaving mystic realm. It included the breakthrough in Jian Wushuang's strength and the fact that he had comprehended a complete secret skill under the Black Divine Pillar. After hearing Mo Shan's words, the 3 palace masters' expressions remained unchanged. All right, you may leave. the palace master in the center said. Yes. Mo Shan nodded and disappeared from the palace with a slight shake of his body. After Mo Shan left, the three palace masters began to chat casually. You actually obtained the inheritance of a complete secret technique under the Black Divine Pillar. Shui Yun, this little fellow is even more powerful than you, right? The palace master sitting in the middle teased. I obtained the secret technique Monarch Water under the Black Divine Pillar back then, and I've benefited immensely from it ever since. Even now, this secret technique is still my strongest technique. Unfortunately, I've only comprehended 70% of this secret technique back then. If I could obtain the complete secret technique, my strength would be able to rise to another level. At that time, I wouldn't be afraid even if I were to fight a Saint Realm Master directly. The Palace Master on the left said. Only Palace Master Shuiyun sighed. This secret technique of yours is indeed very terrifying. It might not be comparable to the divine technique of that old woman from the Supreme Emotion Valley, but it is not too far off either. The secret technique that this little fellow named Heavenly Sword Marquis obtained from the Black Divine Pillar's golden characters should not be inferior to your secret technique, Monarch Water, said the Palace Master on the right. That's for sure. Palace Master Shuiyun nodded slightly. This little fellow obtained a complete secret technique from the Black Divine Pillar. Furthermore, the talent and strength he displayed now are much stronger than mine. In terms of talent and potential, he is much more outstanding than me. If he doesn't die midway, he might be able to step into the peak and be on par with the three of us. It's still too early to talk about this. After all, the birth of a true expert requires many conditions. Talent and potential are just one of them. There are so many geniuses and monsters in our heaven-cleaving three palaces, but how many of them can actually reach the peak? Not to mention the peak. Even those who can become principals masters are pitifully few. The palace master in the center shook his head and said. The other two palace masters also nodded. There were too many people on the road to the peak. However, how many people could stay on the road without falling down? The three of them were very old. They had been the palace masters of the three palaces for many years and had seen countless geniuses. They had long become numb to some geniuses. Even an incredible genius like Jian Wushuang only caught their attention a little, and they did not take it to heart. The path to the peak cannot be taken just like that. However, this little fellow named Heavenly Sword Marquis is indeed special. Not only is his talent incredible, but he actually won the favor of that person. The palace master in the center suddenly said. At the mention of that person, the other two palace masters' expressions also became strange. The three of them were not very interested in Jian Wushuang before. Even if Jian Wushuang's talent was incredible, they would not care too much about it, nor would they directly give him a spot to enter the heaven-cleaving mystic realm. The reason was because of that guy. I don't know what kind of luck this little guy has to make that guy care so much about him. He even asked us to give him a spot to enter the heaven-cleaving mystic realm. We gave him a spot by force under the condition that many people were dissatisfied with him. Is it because of his talent that that guy paid special attention to him? It can't be that serious, right? Palace Master Shuiyun said in a strange tone. Even the three of them did not care much about geniuses, let alone that person? Who knows? In any case, since that person has already given the order, then the three of us just have to do as he says. The palace master at the center said helplessly. All right, let's not talk about this. Let's talk about another matter. Not long ago, I received news that the number one genius of the Dao Palace, Xianxia, was assassinated, and the person who made the move was the Grandmaster of the Sorcerer God's sect, the Long Xing. The palace master on the right suddenly said. Sorcerer God sect? Humph, looks like this Sorcerer God sect has completely become the lackey of the three great holy regions. I wonder what that old Sorcerer God is thinking. Palace Master Shuiyun's voice was ice-cold, and there was a trace of killing intent in his eyes. I don't know what that old Sorcerer God is thinking, but the three great holy regions, the three great Saint Realm Masters, took advantage of the Temporal Temple Master and the Heavenly Ancestor to go to the cosmic battlefield. Now, they are acting more and more unscrupulously. Aren't they just relying on the existence of the heavenly Tao will behind them? What the heck? The palace master in the middle cursed in a low voice. Will of the heavenly Tao. Humph. Sooner or later, my heaven-cleaving alliance will go against the heavenly Tao and kill this heavenly Tao. After leaving the heaven-cleaving star, Jian Wushuang returned to the first heaven, but his mood was quite heavy. The supreme emotion valley is extremely powerful. If I want to take Shuang Air away, I need to have the strength of the 3 palace masters of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces. But I'm still far from that level. My strength is still too weak after all. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands tightly. Took him a long time to calm down. The trip to the heaven-cleaving mystic realm not only allowed me to obtain the secret skill 6 paths of reincarnation, but also increased my strength greatly. I've reached the level of a rank 3 true saint and made so many breakthroughs in my realm. Then my strength should be in a leap period now, Jian Wushuang muttered. Previously, he was only a first-level true saint. But whether it was his comprehension of the principles, understanding of the Tao, or even in the absolute arts, he was far beyond his realm. Because he was far beyond his realm, it caused his improvement speed to become slower and slower. For example, when the water in the water bottle was full, it was naturally impossible to continue filling it. However, it would be completely different if he replaced it with a big water bottle. Once Jian Wushuang broke through his realm and broke through 2 realms at the same time, his comprehension of the principles in Tao would naturally have a lot of room for improvement. Moreover, he had just broken through, so the improvement was usually very fast. That was why it was called the leap period. Now I can find a place to concentrate on improving my strength. It would be best if I have some proper training. Jian Wushuang smiled and suddenly, his expression changed. It's been a long time since I've completed a mission of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. Let's go and take a look. Jian Wushuang immediately set off. The secret lair of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance was located in every corner of the divine beginning world. Naturally, there were many in the first heaven. Jian Wushuang easily found one of the secret lairs. In the secret lairs, Jian Wushuang sat alone at the table with a list of heaven-level missions in his hand. There were countless heaven-level tasks on the list. It's no wonder that there are so many heaven-level tasks in the first heaven. Jian Wushuang sighed and began to read carefully. One heaven-level task after another passed through Jian Wushuang's eyes. These heaven-level tasks varied in difficulty from 1 star to 3 stars, so the rewards were naturally different. Jian Wushuang carefully searched for nearly an hour on this list of missions and finally found a mission that was more suitable for him. This mission was a heaven-level 2-star mission. Under normal circumstances, only a true saint above rank 4 could complete a heaven-level 2-star mission alone. However, the heaven-level 2-star mission that Jian Wushuang chose did not specify the number of people. In other words, whether it was 1 person or 10 people, they could complete the mission. As for the content of the mission, it was to go to a country and serve as a guard for 100 years. A guard mission? Jian Wushuang looked at the mission content with interest. From the information given by the mission, it was said to be a guard mission, but in fact, it was just a helper hired by others. In addition, it did not need to do anything on a daily basis, as long as it was at a critical time. In addition, the mission did not require him to run around. When he had nothing to do, Jian Wushuang could cultivate on his own and no one would care about him. In other words, the mission was more comfortable and free. As for the reward, it was not low, but Jian Wushuang did not care about the reward. Let's do this mission. Jian Wushuang made up his mind. He immediately accepted the mission and went directly to that country. The true martial kingdom was the most ordinary country among the countless countries in the first heaven. This country was an independent country. In other words, there were no sects or forces behind it. The founder of the true martial kingdom was a powerful rank 6 true saint who had a large number of experts under his command. His overall strength was extraordinary. With a rank 6 true saint overseeing this country for many years, the true martial kingdom had lived in peace. However, 300 years ago, the king of the true martial kingdom had gone out once. After that, there had been no more news. In other words, this king of the true martial kingdom had gone missing. And in a place like the divine beginning world, which was filled with killing, he had gone missing without any reason. It was very likely that he had fallen. Thus, when there was a disturbance in the Zhenwu country, it was inevitable that a new king would be needed to clean up this mess. However, the high-level experts in the true martial kingdom had different opinions on the choice of the new king. Gradually, two major factions formed. One was the Third Prince's faction, and the other was the Sixth Prince's faction. The two factions had been fighting for years, so the king's position had not been decided. It was a huge and magnificent mansion, which was where the Sixth Prince of the true martial kingdom lived. "Is this the place?" Jian Wushuang stood in the void and looked down at the mansion. He was wearing a gray robe, but he did not wear a gray mask. However, he deliberately disguised his appearance. Without hesitation, he appeared in front of the huge mansion. "Halt!" As soon as Jian Wushuang appeared at the gate of the mansion, a loud shout was heard, and then dozens of figures surrounded him. All of them were experts above the true saint realm and were staring at Jian Wushuang. "My name is Heavenly Sword Marquis. I'm from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. I came here because I received a heaven-grade mission from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance." Jian Wushuang explained his purpose of coming and also revealed his divine power aura. "Someone from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance?" The guards looked at Jian Wushuang deeply, and one of them said, "Please wait a moment. I'll go and report it immediately." After a while, a red-robed elder walked out. "I'm Yuan Chong, one of the servants of the Sixth Prince. Since you're from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, please show me your identity token," the red-robed elder said. Jian Wushuang took a look at the red-robed elder. Although the latter's aura was very gentle, Jian Wushuang could tell at a glance that he was a true saint expert who had reached the peak of rank 4. "This is my identity token." Jian Wushuang handed his identity token to the red-robed elder, Yuan Chong. Yuan Chong took it, glanced at it, and nodded slightly. "Sir, please come in." Under the guidance of Yuan Chong, Jian Wushuang entered the huge mansion. As soon as he stepped into the mansion, Jian Wushuang immediately sensed that there were a lot of experts' auras hidden in the mansion. There are so many experts. There seem to be dozens of them who are rank 3 true saints and above. There are even rank 4 true saints and rank 5 true saints in this mansion. Jian Wushuang revealed a surprised look. "Did you sense the aura of the experts in this mansion?" Yuan Chong looked at Jian Wushuang. "Yes." Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. "The Sixth Prince and the Third Prince have been fighting for a long time, and I'm afraid that the result will be decided soon. To put it bluntly, it's a competition of fists. The Third Prince is very skillful and has gathered a large number of experts under his command. The Sixth Prince had no choice but to spend a great representative to invite many experts to help him," Yuan Chong said. "All the experts in the mansion were invited by the Sixth Prince from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance?" Jian Wushuang asked, puzzled. "Nearly half of them were invited from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, some from other places, but some are loyal to the Sixth Prince, such as the Purple Blood Camp, the most elite force under the Sixth Prince, and me," Yuan Chong added. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. He had so many experts under his command, but the Sixth Prince had paid a great price to invite so many experts to help him. It seemed that the battle between him and the Third Prince was indeed very fierce. Soon, Yuan Chong brought Jian Wushuang to a separate courtyard. "Your Excellency, since you accepted the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance's heaven-level task, you should know what to do. I don't need to say more. This is my message token. If you have nothing to do, I hope you can stay in the mansion. As for what to do in the mansion, you can do as you please. But once I send a message to you, I hope you can immediately appear in front of me." Yuan Chong handed a message token to Jian Wushuang. "Got it." Jian Wushuang nodded. Yuan Chong soon left. After Yuan Chong left, Jian Wushuang waved his hand and set up a layer of restriction around the courtyard where he lived. This layer of restriction was to prevent him from being disturbed while he was meditating and cultivating. After that, he began to cultivate quietly in the courtyard. His strength was now in a leap period. Even if he cultivated quietly, the speed of improvement was astonishing, especially in sword principle and swordsmanship. His Peerless Sword Manual and 7 sword moves had all reached the peak of level 4, but his comprehension of space-time principles and swordsmanship was comparable to that of a rank 5 true saint. Naturally, he could think of a way to upgrade all 7 sword moves to the level of a rank 5 absolute art. Time passed. 6 years passed in a row. During these 6 years, the mansion was very quiet and nothing happened. Most of the experts invited back by the 6th prince were still abiding by the rules in the mansion and no one messed around. Until this day. Buzz! A message token in Jian Wushuang's interspatial ring vibrated. It was from Yuan Chong. Finally, something happened? Jian Wushuang smiled faintly, stood up and rushed to the drill ground in the center of the mansion. On the drill ground, Jian Wushuang found that not only him, but all the experts invited by the 6th prince had arrived. There were nearly 100 people at a glance. Among the nearly 100 people, the lowest realm was a true saint at the peak of rank 2, and there were only 2 of them. Most of them were between rank 3 and rank 4 true saints. As for rank 5 true saints, there was only one who was present. This was easy to understand. Reaching rank 5 was considered a high-level true saint. If one reached rank 6, he could even be called a top true saint. In the true martial kingdom, even the strongest founder only had the cultivation of a rank 6 true saint. There were only a few rank 5 true saints in the entire true martial kingdom. Although the 6th prince offered a lot of rewards and costs, the rewards he offered were hard to tempt some rank 5 true saints and above. It was already his luck to have a rank 5 true saint invited by him. So many people are gathered here. I wonder what they are going to do. Jian Wushuang stood in the crowd. He was a rank 3 true saint, so he did not stand out among the many true saint experts on the drill ground. Suddenly, whoosh, 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 3 figures suddenly landed in the center of the drill ground. The one on the left of the 3 was the red-robed elder, Yuan Chong. However, Yuan Chong was standing behind the other 2 respectfully. The 2 people were a man and a woman. The man was young but extremely handsome. He was wearing a luxurious long robe and had his hands behind his back. He gave off the aura of a superior. As for the woman, she was dressed rather plainly. However, even her plain clothes could not hide her beautiful face. Moreover, her noble aura was enough to make people dream about her. This woman was indeed extremely mesmerizing. When many people present saw that woman, they could not help but raise their throats. Everyone, let me introduce to you. These 2 are the 6th prince and the Qing prince. Yuan Chong opened his mouth to introduce. Qing prince. Is she Qing prince? Indeed. She lives up to her name. Immediately, a wave of whispers sounded around them. Although they were all invited by the 6th prince, and the 6th prince was likely to be the next king of the Zhenwu kingdom, at this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on the 6th prince Qing. No one cared about the 6th prince. Jian Wushuang could not help glancing at the 6th prince Qing. He had stayed in the mansion for 6 years. Although he rarely interacted with others, he knew that among the people who supported the 6th prince's faction, there were many experts, as well as the princess of the Zhenwu kingdom, who was the 6th prince Qing. Moreover, Prince Qing was also famous for her beauty in the Zhenwu country. Ah Qing, those powerful warriors who have been invited by me are all here. You can choose some yourself. The 6th prince said. Yes. Prince Qing nodded slightly. Immediately, she started to walk among the crowd. The surrounding people looked at her with fervent eyes. You! Princess Qing stretched out her hand and pointed at the cultivators in the crowd. She pointed at 10 people before she stopped. The 10 people I just pointed at, come out, Princess Qing said coldly. The 10 people she pointed at immediately stood out one after another. Among them, Jian Wushuang was surprisingly one of them. Looking at the 10 people in front of him, the 6th prince frowned and said, Ah Qing, let's change the batch. The 10 people you picked are all too weak. What the 6th prince said was the truth because the 10 people chosen by Prince Qing, including Jian Wushuang, were only rank 3 true saints, but there was not even a rank 4 true saint. Although most of the hundreds of experts on the drill ground were rank 3 true saints, there were at least 20 rank 4 true saints. No need. I didn't go out this time to fight. These 10 people are enough to escort me, Prince Qing insisted. Yuan Chong. 6th prince frowned and glanced at Yuan Chong. Follow Qing. If anything happens to Qing, you don't have to come back. Yes, Your Highness. Yuan Chong nodded respectfully. Let's go, Qing said. Everyone, let's go. Yuan Chong looked at Jian Wushuang and the others. Soon, Prince Qing, Yuan Chong, and the 10 rank 3 true saints, including Jian Wushuang, left the mansion and headed toward the distant void. On the way, Yuan Chong and Prince Qing exchanged messages. Prince Qing, you can choose some stronger people to escort you, such as the 10 rank 4 true saints or the 6th prince's purple blood camp, Yuan Chong said. No, Prince Qing shook his head. 6th brother is at a critical moment right now, and he needs more experts to protect him. The Purple Blood Battalion is his strongest force, and I cannot use this force. As for the other experts, I don't need them either. If it weren't for 6th brother forcing me, I wouldn't even bring these 10 third rank true saints with me. After all, if I leave more experts behind for him, his situation will be better. But this way, your situation will be very dangerous. Yuan Chong frowned. Don't worry, it won't happen. Royal Highness Qing said indifferently. We are going to the Holy Feather Sect. It's not far from the Zhenwu country. Moreover, there are no particularly dangerous areas on the way. As long as our luck is not too bad, we won't encounter any danger. Under normal circumstances, there won't be any danger. But what about the 3rd prince? Yuan Chong said. If the 3rd prince knows that you are going to the Holy Feather Sect, he will definitely send powerful warriors here immediately. Hearing these words, Prince Qing's face also sank. Indeed, on the way to the Holy Feather Sect this time, she did not need to experience any dangerous places. However, the biggest threat to her was still that 3rd prince. No matter what, I am still his biological sister. He would not attack me. Moreover, even if he knew that he wanted to attack me, he would have to find me. There are so many ways to go from the Zhenwu country to the Holy Feather Sect. How could he find me so easily? Prince Qing said. Yuan Chong nodded slightly, but his heart was still heavy. The 10 rank 3 true saints behind them, including Jian Wushuang, still did not know where they were going. But since they had followed Prince Qing, they would follow him wherever he went. The group of people moved at a very fast speed in the void. The true martial kingdom was also in a huge mansion. This mansion was the residence of the 3rd prince. In the magnificent palace, a cold-looking man wearing a luxurious golden robe was sitting on the throne. Below him, there were dozens of experts standing respectfully. Among these dozens of experts, most of them were rank 4 true saints. There were even 3 rank 5 true saints. In terms of strength, the 3rd prince's strength was clearly much stronger than the 6th prince's. Qing left 6th? The 3rd prince tapped the armchair with his finger, and his calm voice echoed throughout the palace. Yes, she left 2 days ago. She only had Yuan Chong, a peak 4th rank true saint, and 10 3rd rank true saints with her, a black-robed elder said respectfully. She only brought so few people? The 3rd prince raised his eyebrows. Do you know where she is going? I don't know. However, according to the direction she is going, she should be heading out of the country. The old man dressed in black said. The 3rd prince waved his hand, and a huge star map appeared in the center of the palace. This is the territory near my true martial kingdom. Tell me, where is Qing now? The 3rd prince said. Your Highness, she is here. The black-clothed old man pointed to a direction in the star map. When he saw the location pointed by the black-clothed old man, the 3rd prince's pupils shrank. Then, a strange smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Ha, my little sister is really good to 6th brother. We are both from the same father. If she treats me like this, how good would that be? Your Highness, do you know where your Highness Qing is going? The old man in black looked over. From the direction she is going, she should be heading to the Holy Feather Sect. Not long ago, I received news that an elder of the Holy Feather Sect who had reached the peak of stage 6 had taken a liking to her when he passed by the Zhenwu country. He even wanted to take her as his personal disciple. Now she is going to the Holy Feather Sect. As long as she passes the elder's test, she will be able to become his disciple. At that time, with this relationship, Qing can ask the Holy Feather Sect to step in and support 6th brother's ascension. The 3rd prince said, Will the Holy Feather Sect make a move? The old man in black frowned. Ordinary disciples won't be weak, but a personal disciple of a peak level 6 elder will have a certain amount of power. Moreover, if it really doesn't work, then as long as 6th brother compromises a little and agrees to let the Zhenwu country become the king under the Holy Feather sect, then the Holy Feather sect will naturally make a move. The third prince laughed. If that's the case, Your Highness, we must act quickly. The black-clothed old man said anxiously. Yes, we must act. But there is no need to be too anxious. After all, it will take at least 1 or 2 months to arrive at the Holy Feather sect from 6th brother. Such a long time is enough for us to prepare. Godfor, I will leave this matter to you. When you see Qing, tell her that as her elder brother, I can give her a chance. As long as she comes back with you and stays by my side obediently from now on, I will naturally not make things difficult for her. When I become the king, she will still be the only princess in the Zhenwu kingdom. The third prince said. But what if Prince Qing doesn't agree? The black-clothed elder asked. If he doesn't agree, then I can only pretend that I don't have a sister, the third prince said coldly. Understood. The black-clothed elder glanced at the third prince, then bowed and left. In the vast void, Jian Wushuang and his group were flying rapidly. It had been more than a month since they left the 6th prince's mansion, and they had already left the territory of the true martial kingdom. They did not encounter any danger or trouble along the way. According to our speed, we will arrive at the Holy Feather sect in 10 days at most. Prince Qing's expression was cold, but there was a trace of expectation in his heart. But at this moment, Jian Wushuang, who was in the crowd, suddenly raised his head. He could sense that there were dozens of powerful auras rapidly approaching from the void in front of him. In just a moment, the dozens of experts had appeared in front of Jian Wushuang and the others. Haha, Your Highness Qing, I have been waiting here for you for a long time. A hearty laughter suddenly echoed in the world. Haha, Your Highness Qing, I have been waiting for you for a long time. When the hearty laughter echoed in the air, the expressions of Qing and Yuan Chong immediately changed. Yuan Chong immediately saw the person who was laughing. Holy Four? Oh no, it's the third prince's men. Yuan Chong was shocked, and everyone immediately stopped. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The figures were so fast that they appeared in front of Jian Wushuang and the others in the blink of an eye. At first glance, there were nearly 30 experts who had just arrived, and the lowest among them was a rank 3 true saint. However, there were only a few of them, and most of them were rank 4 true saints. The aura emanating from the black-clothed old man in the lead far surpassed that of a 4th rank true saint. This black-clothed old man was a genuine 5th rank true saint. Such a lineup was far stronger than the one on Prince Qing's side. They were on 2 completely different levels. How did you know to wait for us here? Prince Qing's voice was cold. How did you know? Of course, someone told us. The black-robed old man, Xianxia, smiled coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, a purple-haired man who was originally behind Prince Qing instantly transformed into a purple ray of light and shot out. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Xianxia. My lord! The purple-haired man bowed respectfully to Xianxia. You did well. Xianxia merely nodded indifferently. Upon seeing this scene, Prince Qing immediately reacted. Spy! Haha! Prince Qing, although in terms of cultivation talent, be it you or the 6th prince, both of them are very impressive, but in terms of methods of doing things, you and the 6th prince are still a little too immature. Xianxia laughed loudly. Previously, the 6th prince was so ostentatiously inviting experts from all over the place. How could the 3rd prince not know about such a huge commotion? Even though the 3rd prince didn't stop him, it's still possible for him to secretly send a few experts under the 6th prince's command. And among the 10 experts you've chosen this time, we happen to be one of them. Godfor only spoke half of his words. Actually, the 3rd prince had sent quite a number of spies under the 6th prince's command. There were at least more than 10 of them, including 3rd and 4th level true saints. It was because he had sent out so many spies that even if Prince Qing had chosen 10 people at random, one of them would still be one of them. So that's how it is? Prince Qing and Yuan Chang's expressions were extremely unsightly. Fourth God, it's one thing for you to have spies under his command, but now that you're blocking his path, what are you trying to do? Yuan Chong shouted coldly. What are we trying to do? Don't you know? Fourth God snickered. Your Highness Qing, the third prince has already guessed your intention. Isn't it to go to the Holy Feather sect and become the subordinate of that peak 6th level true Saint Elder, and then use the power of the Holy Feather sect to help the 6th prince ascend to the throne? Do you think the third prince will let you have your way? Inwardly, Prince Qing was stunned. She did not expect that the third prince had even guessed her intention. Your Highness Qing, we have also brought with us the words of the third prince. The third prince has said that if you come back with me now, you will stay by his side from now on. That prince will not make things difficult for you because of the blood connection. In the future, when he ascends to the throne, you will still be able to become the princess of the Zhenwu country. Your position will only be second to him. However, if you are still stubborn and stand together with the 6th prince to oppose him, then don't blame him for being ruthless. Xianxia said in a low voice. He. Connected by blood? From the moment he was born, he had been planning and preparing. When father was around, he had also been suppressing us. Now that father had gone missing, he could not wait to eliminate the people who threatened his status. Now, he still had the face to say that they were connected by blood? If he said it out loud, it would be a joke, Prince Qing shouted. It seems that Prince Qing is not going to change his mind. Xianxi's voice became low and his eyes turned cold. Prince Qing stopped talking, but he had already made up his mind. Yuan Chong looked at Jian Wushuang and the others behind him. Everyone, 6th prince paid a great price to invite you here. Now it's time for you to fulfill your duty, Yuan Chong said in a low voice. Hearing this, the 8 people next to Jian Wushuang looked at each other with strange expressions. Mr. Yuan Chong, one of the rank 3 true saints suddenly said, I was indeed invited by the 6th prince. The reward promised by the 6th prince is indeed a lot, but although I can be his guard for 100 years, it's not worth my life, not to mention the current situation. So, I'm sorry. As soon as this rank 3 true saint finished speaking, his body immediately transformed into a streak of light and shot out into the air. With someone taking the lead, the others immediately followed suit. Your Highness Qing, Mr. Yuan Chong, I'm sorry. The 2 of you should just pray for yourselves. Although I agreed to be your escort, I've never agreed to risk my life for you, much less die. Voices rang out one after another. In the blink of an eye, 8 of the 9 cultivators behind Prince Qing had left. Seeing these 8 people leave, and the others did not stop them. They knew that these people who left were not truly loyal to 6th prince, so there was naturally no need to kill them. When Yuan Chong saw this, he was so angry that he trembled. Damn it! Damn it! Princess Qing's face became colder and colder. Ha! Princess Qing's expression suddenly changed. She found that although 8 of the 9 rank 3 true saints had left, one of them had chosen to stay. This person was Jian Wushuang. Why don't you leave? Princess Qing asked in a deep voice. I don't like to go back on my words. Since I promised to be your guard for 100 years, I will do my best to protect you, Jian Wushuang said indifferently. Hearing this, Prince Qing was stunned and then nodded slightly. Prince Qing, don't worry. Even if I die, I won't let anything happen to you. Yuan Chang's eyes were extremely scarlet. He took a deep look at Prince Qing and then stepped forward. Godfor, I want to talk to you about a condition. Yuan Chang's voice echoed. Talk about a condition? Godfor sneered. At this point, what condition can you talk to me about? Moreover, even if you want to talk about a condition, Prince Qing will be the one to do it. Who do you think you are? Humph, you can't refuse to negotiate because, Yuan Chong said as he approached Xianxia. However, Yuan Chong suddenly waved his hand, and 2 red streams of light were thrown out from his hand. Show! 2 scarlet rays of light were instantly thrown in front of the 4 god and the rest, and then boom, boom. Following 2 earth-shaking booms, these 2 scarlet rays of light directly exploded, and a terrifying might suddenly erupt. These two scarlet rays of light were actually two refined divine lightning of destruction. When either of them exploded, it was comparable to a rank 4 true saint's self-detonation. When the two claps of thunder exploded together, the power of the explosion was extremely terrifying. It naturally had a certain impact on For God and the others. "Your Highness, let's go." Yuan Chong threw out the two destructive divine claps of thunder and immediately turned to flee. Prince Qing's reaction was not slow, so he fled immediately. This Yuan Chong is quite smart. Jian Wushuang followed behind Yuan Chong and Prince Qing. "You want to escape? You're dreaming." A roar suddenly echoed in the void. Many figures struggled out of the mighty divine storm. They were the experts under the third prince. The two destructive divine claps of thunder would only hinder them at most, but it was not realistic to harm them. Now that they had escaped from the divine power storm, they immediately began to chase after them. Whoosh! 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 The sound of rushing wind was heard, and the figures were extremely fast. While they were fleeing, whether it was Prince Qing, Yuan Chong, or Jian Wushuang, they all found that the distance between them was getting closer and closer. In fact, with Jian Wushuang's speed, he could leave as he pleased. The fourth level of the divine realm could not catch up with him at all. Yuan Chong was a true saint at the peak of the fourth level. If he tried to run with all his might, it would not be easy for those people to catch up with him later. The reason why the distance between them was getting closer and closer was that Princess Qing was too slow. Although Princess Qing had some talent, she was only a rank 1 true saint and was not very good at speed. Naturally, she could not compare with the rank 3 true saint experts behind her. "Princess Qing, I'll carry you," Yuan Chong suggested. "It's useless." Jian Wushuang shook his head. "Mr. Yuan Chong, although you're fast, he should be good at speed. He just hasn't used his strength yet. Once he explodes his strength, Mr. Yuan Chong, you won't be able to escape with Prince Qing." Yuan Chong's face darkened. He had worked with Xianxia, so he knew that Xianxia was very fast, but he was not willing to give up. At this point, there is only one way for Prince Qing to leave. Jian Wushuang's voice was cold, but his body suddenly stopped in the void. "Mr. Yuan Chong, you take Prince Qing and leave. As for the people behind you, I will think of a way to stall them for a while." Yuan Chong and Prince Qing were both stunned. Behind them were a rank 5 true saint, a dozen rank 4 true saints, and many third-rank experts. There were so many experts, and Jian Wushuang was obviously only a rank 3 true saint. Was it possible for him to hold them off for a while? Was it possible? Although he knew it was impossible, Yuan Chong still nodded and said, "Please. Thank you." Prince Qing also gave Jian Wushuang a deep look. Yuan Chong carried Prince Qing on his back and continued to run forward without stopping. Jian Wushuang had already turned around and looked at For God and the others. A subtle smile appeared on his lips. On the surface, he stayed to help Prince Qing and Yuan Chong escape, but in fact, he stayed for himself. After coming out of the heaven-cleaving mystic realm, he knew that his strength was at its peak. At this time, he needed to cultivate in peace. The outside world must temper him. Previously, he stayed in the mansion of the 6th prince to cultivate in seclusion. He already had peace. But now, the 30 experts in front of him were at least at the level of a rank 3 true saint. It was a suitable training for Jian Wushuang. "After cultivating in seclusion for 6 years, my swordsmanship has improved a lot. Today, I can use these people to test my swordsmanship," Jian Wushuang said with a faint smile. He stood alone in front of nearly 30 experts like Xianxia, who sensed that Jian Wushuang only had the aura of a rank 3 true saint and did not think much of him. "Leaving a rank 3 true saint here as cannon fodder? Do you want him to stop us? What a joke." Xianxia smiled coldly. "You two stay here and kill him. The rest of you continue to chase after him." Xianxia gave the order, and his speed slowly began to increase. Most of the experts ignored Jian Wushuang and directly passed by him, including Xianxia. Only 2 of the stronger rank 3 true saints came to kill Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang watched Xianxia and the others pass by him, but he did not show any intention of stopping them. "Boy, die! A low voice suddenly came from the front. The two rank 3 true saints had already attacked Jian Wushuang. Seeing that their magic weapons were already in front of him, Jian Wushuang moved. Buzz! A silver light suddenly flashed like a ghost. The two men's attacks passed through Jian Wushuang's divine body, but they missed. Whoosh! A sword shadow suddenly lit up. It was a cold and beautiful sword shadow that felt like a dream. The sword light was dull, but it was incredibly fast. It was too fast. It was too fast. At least for the two rank 3 true saints, it was faster than they could imagine. Chi! Chi! The sword shadow first swept past the neck of a rank 3 true saint, and the protective armor that this rank 3 true saint was wearing was torn apart by the sword shadow like a piece of paper. The sword shadow passed through the neck and slashed toward the second rank 3 true saint. The same scene appeared again. In just one exchange, the heads of the two rank 3 true saints were thrown away. The venom of the evil god on Jian Wushuang's Blood Mountain sword instantly invaded the divine bodies of the two rank 3 true saints. The two rank 3 true saints did not even have time to scream before they died. On the other side, God 4 and the others were still chasing after Prince Qing and Yuan Chong. God 4 rushed at the front, but suddenly, boom! A vast and majestic aura suddenly burst out in the void, and then they found that a huge barrier had appeared in the void in front of them. Not only in front of them, but also in the surrounding void. The same barrier also appeared in the surrounding void. The barrier was like a huge iron box, locking everyone in the center. The ruler seal rules over space and time. In this space and time, I am the ruler. Jian Wushuang stood where he was and murmured softly, "Is this a magic array?" For God looked at the barrier in front of him and could not help but fly into a rage. He also tried to break the barrier, but his attack hit the barrier in front of him and did not shake it at all. They were going to chase after Prince Qing and Yuan Chong, but now they were blocked by this barrier. Who is it? Who cast the formation? Xianxia looked around in shock and anger. Soon he saw Jian Wushuang behind him. Ha! Xianxia looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise. He had sent two powerful rank 3 true saints to kill Jian Wushuang. But in the blink of an eye, Jian Wushuang was unharmed. But the two rank 3 true saints were gone. It was obvious that they had been killed. Whoosh! 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 Led by Xianxia, the group returned to Jian Wushuang again. "Boy, did you use the magic array around you?" Xianxia asked coldly. "Yes." Jian Wushuang nodded. "This magic array is very strong. You can't break it with your strength alone. If you want to kill Prince Qing and Mr. Yuan Chong, you have to kill me first." Jian Wushuang's voice was very calm. He was facing nearly 30 experts, including a rank 5 true saint and more than 10 rank 4 true saints, but his expression did not change at all. "Since you want to die, I'll grant you your wish." For God shouted, and his right hand, which was wearing a black glove, suddenly struck out. It seemed to be a casual strike, but it completely exploded his rank 5 true saint's divine power. This palm was filled with the vast principle's master, and the moment it struck out, a mournful sound echoed in the sky. A large amount of divine power gathered crazily, forming a huge black demonic lion. The black demonic lion was extremely violent. After it formed, it pounced directly at Jian Wushuang. If a rank 5 true saint attacked with all his strength, it should be able to destroy the divine body of an ordinary rank 3 true saint in one move. This was the intention of the palm strike from 4 God. However, when he saw the black demonic lion approaching, Jian Wushuang smiled faintly, but there was a sharp glint in his eyes. Jian Wushuang moved. He waved his hand. Whoosh! A swift and fierce sword light smashed out like a blood-red thunderbolt that suddenly fell from a clear sky. It was the peerless sword technique Xianxia. The sword light was swift and fierce, and the ruthless aura was overwhelming. When it came into contact with the black demonic lion, it was accompanied by Jian Wushuang's equally powerful divine power. The terrifying power caused the black demonic lion to tremble crazily. Then, the sword light cut through the center of the black demonic lion. Whoosh! A large amount of divine power spread out in all directions. Jian Wushuang had already passed through the black demonic lion and continued to rush toward Xianxia. How is this possible? Xianxia was shocked. Not only him but the rank 3 and rank 4 true saints behind him were also shocked. A rank 3 true saint actually defeated the attack of a rank 5 true saint? Xianxia's strength is only that of a rank 5 true saint. It's meaningless to fight him alone. So, you should all attack together. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. When he appeared in front of Xianxia and the others, he struck again. Whoosh! The sword swept across, and a scarlet sword shadow burst out. The sword shadow was like the setting sun, shining with red light. However, the setting sun was obviously incomplete. Wushuang's sword manual. Kanyang. Buzz. The sword shadow swept across the void in front of him, instantly creating a large area of space ripples, which were all red in color. Scram! Death roared furiously, his right hand forming a fist as he smashed out fiercely. An explosive force smashed onto the scarlet sword shadow. When the two collided, God's body trembled slightly and he took 2 steps back. Meanwhile, the scarlet sword shadow was also smashed apart. However, after the sword shadow exploded, a sudden rumble, an endless killing force swept out. An enormous space-time storm instantly took shape, is actually in front of a lot of strong people are covered in. Look out! Space-time storm? No! Space-time annihilation. My God! Swordsmanship contains the annihilation of time and space, and it is so extensive. Exclamations of surprise rang out from the mouths of those rank 3 and rank 4 true saints, whose expressions were quite wonderful. Space-time annihilation was a move that could completely annihilate all matter in space-time, including divine power. The move that Jian Wushuang was using now was a perfect combination of swordsmanship and space-time annihilation. While the power of his swordsmanship was greatly enhanced, the power and range of space-time annihilation were also greatly enhanced. Moreover, such a large area of space-time annihilation covered all of them, instantly causing chaos in the void. Under such chaos, Jian Wushuang made his move. Whoosh! 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 One after another, strange silver light jumped and shuttled in the space-time storm. The silver light changed so fast that it made people feel as if they were surrounded by silver light. Buzz! The sword light shot out soundlessly. It was the first move of the peerless sword manual Star Dream. The cold sword light directly cut into the waist of a rank 4 true saint. The terrifying tearing force instantly tore through the armor of the rank 4 true saint and passed through his divine body. The rank 4 true saint had only used 2 drops of the god-killing poison, but he had already died. After killing the rank 4 true saint, Jian Wushuang's figure flashed again, but he appeared behind a rank 3 true saint. Qi! The rank 3 true saint's head was thrown away by the same sword attack. Jian Wushuang disappeared again. Qi! 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 The sound of swords entering one's body was not noticeable in the howling space-time storm. However, every time the sound was heard, a true saint expert would be killed on the spot. In less than a breath's time, 8 experts had died at Jian Wushuang's hands. The remaining experts finally found the silver demon, who was shaking and killing in the space-time storm. My God! Be careful behind you, no. He's too fast, we don't know where he is. The remaining experts all panicked. They thought that Jian Wushuang was only a rank 3 true saint, so they did not need to take him seriously. They did not expect that this rank 3 true saint was actually a demon. Yes, a demon. His speed was too fast. Incredibly fast. Like Xianxia, he was a genuine rank 5 true saint who was also good at speed. But his speed was far inferior to Jian Wushuang's. How could he be so fast? For God was also shocked. He did not know that Jian Wushuang was indeed a rank 3 true saint. However, his divine power was definitely at the level of a rank 5 true saint. He had comprehended the space-time principles and had reached the 3rd stage. He even had some attainments in it. His comprehension of the space-time principles was very strong among many rank 5 true saints. The most terrifying part of the space-time principles was his speed. Of course, he was fast. In addition, not only was he fast, but the most important thing was that his silver light movement technique was extremely strange. The perfect combination of speed and movement technique made his body look like a ghost. Of course, he was much faster than God. With his terrifying speed, the Star Dream first move, and the god-killing poison, it was too easy for Jian Wushuang to kill these rank 3 and rank 4 true saints. Chi! 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 The sword shadow mercilessly swept past the 3 experts in an instant, and they died immediately. The remaining experts were completely terrified by this scene. Run! Run! With such a fast speed, we are like a target for him. Let's split up and run. A series of terrifying voices rang out. The remaining 10 experts frantically rushed toward the surrounding area. Run! Jian Wushuang gave a strange smile. He did not make any movements, but he only moved with his mind. Buzz! The huge barrier, which was not far away, suddenly closed in front of the fleeing experts. What? How can this be? The magic array has shrunk? The experts were shocked. The ruler seal ruled over space and time. Jian Wushuang could control the magic array formed by the ruler seal at will. He could control the formation to cover a large area, or he could control it to a narrow area less than 1 meter in diameter. Previously, he had only used the formation to seal the surrounding space and time to prevent these people from escaping. But now, Jian Wushuang had directly reduced the size of the formation, sealing the area where they could move in a very small void. In this narrow void, how could these people still have a chance to escape? As for saying that they should split up, that was even more of a joke. Kill! Jian Wushuang's killing intent was like a rainbow, and the killing in his hands did not stop at all. One after another, cold sword light flashed out and easily swept past the experts. These experts had not been able to organize any effective resistance from the beginning to the end. In just 2 breaths' time, the void had completely calmed down, and the storm formed by the time-space annihilation had also calmed down. Jian Wushuang held the Blood Mountain sword in his hand and stood quietly in the middle of the void. In front of him, God was still standing there. Except for God, all the other rank 3 and rank 4 true saints had died. At this moment, Xianxi's eyes were cold as he stared at Jian Wushuang with a pale face. After all, the scene just now had happened right under his nose. Jian Wushuang had killed nearly 30 rank 3 and rank 4 true saints in front of him. But he could do nothing about it. He could only watch helplessly. Who are you? Xianxi's voice was trembling, and he was also a little scared. He had no choice. Jian Wushuang's slaughter in such a short time was too terrifying, and it made him scared. My name is Heavenly Sword Marquis, and I'm from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, Jian Wushuang replied. From the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance? Not the 3 palaces. Xianxi frowned. No, Jian Wushuang shook his head. Cut the crap. All your men are dead. It's your turn now. Humph, you want to kill me? Xianxi's voice turned cold. I'm different from the crap you killed. As a rank 5 true saint, Xianxi had some confidence. Although Jian Wushuang could easily kill a rank 3 or rank 4 true saint, it did not mean that he could easily kill a rank 5 true saint. You are right. You are indeed different from those rank 3 or rank 4 true saints. That's why I deliberately left you at the end. Jian Wushuang smiled indifferently. As soon as he finished speaking, rumble, a large amount of golden divine power began to gather crazily behind him. In just a moment, a 30,000-meter-tall Golden Emperor Phantom appeared behind him. The Golden Emperor Phantom was majestic and awe-inspiring. As a rank 5 true saint, you are qualified to receive my sword. Jian Wushuang's voice was cold. He clenched the hilt of his sword with both hands and slowly raised the Blood Mountain sword. At the moment the Blood Mountain sword was raised, a strange power began to spread. Xianxi stared at Jian Wushuang with a solemn expression. At this moment, Xianxi suddenly felt a special power crazily pressing down on him. This is space-time pressure? Xianxi stared at Jian Wushuang. This sword attack of his has brought about space-time pressure. The majestic space-time pressure on Xianxi's body increased the pressure on him. However, at this moment Walala, raging flames mixed with endless white ice fog and produced endless power of ice and fire. The 2 natural opposing powers of ice and fire merged perfectly at this moment. the power of ice and fire swept wildly in all directions. In the blink of an eye, it completely covered the surrounding void and formed a huge world of ice and fire. The world of ice and fire had Jian Wushuang as its core. With a thought from Jian Wushuang, the world of ice and fire crazily pressed toward Holy Four. The 30,000-meter-tall Golden Emperor Phantom also intimidated For God. At that moment, For God's divine power was completely suppressed. At the same time, the power of Jian Wushuang's Blood Mountain sword had accumulated to the maximum. Cut! With a roar, Jian Wushuang's Blood Mountain sword, which had been raised high, finally cut down. With this cut, the space-time power that was pressing down on For God from all directions suddenly soared. For God had already felt an extraordinary space-time pressure. But at this moment, the space-time pressure suddenly increased by 100 times. The space-time pressure was already strong, but now it was 100 times stronger? What did this mean? The terrifying space-time pressure, together with the divine punishment deterrence and the full suppression of the icefire swimming dragon ruler, made For God tremble. It was the same as the fight between Jian Wushuang and Xiong Tao. When Jian Wushuang used the Emperor's blood kill, Xiong Tao lost the ability to resist. Now, although Xianxia was a genuine rank 5 true saint, he could not resist the unprecedented pressure. Bang! The terrifying sword light brought with it an earth-shattering might as it directly hacked at God 4's divine body. The sovereign blood kill was a sword technique that was combined with the pressure of space and time. Its main power was not as tyrannical as the Star Dream first style. Therefore, this sword did not tear apart the armor on For God's body. But the earth-shattering power contained in the sword technique was transmitted to For God's divine body through the armor, causing his divine body to directly collapse. How is this possible? When the For God's divine body collapsed, he was still howling in his heart. However, because the armor was not torn, the evil god venom that Jian Wushuang smeared on the Blood Mountain sword blade could not really enter the divine body of the Divine Four and erode his divine power. The divine power could completely rely on the immortal body to regenerate the divine body. But at this moment, Jian Wushuang raised his right hand and pointed in the direction of For God. Space-time divine skill, space-time annihilation. Buzz, buzz. It was also space-time annihilation, but the space-time annihilation was used to the fullest by the space-time annihilation. Its power was dozens or even hundreds of times stronger than the space-time annihilation that Jian Wushuang used solely by relying on his comprehension of the space-time principles. The heaven and earth shook, and the void began to roar crazily. The divine power formed after the For God's divine body collapsed was completely covered by the time-space annihilation. The terrifying destructive power burst out, and in a short moment, the For God's divine power was completely annihilated. For God, a rank 5 true saint expert, died on the spot. One finger void annihilation. This move should be the nemesis of the immortal body. Jian Wushuang looked at the space-time in front of him, which had been completely annihilated, and was secretly amazed. In fact, the move void annihilation had a certain restraining effect on the immortal body. After all, void annihilation could annihilate divine power on a large scale. However, the power of ordinary void annihilation was not very strong, and the range was not very large. It was almost impossible to annihilate the divine power of a true saint expert by void annihilation alone. At most, it could annihilate 10% or 20% of the opponent's divine power. However, the space-time annihilation with one finger was different. The space-time annihilation with one finger could increase the power of space-time annihilation by dozens or even hundreds of times. Naturally, it could only annihilate 10% or 20% of the opponent's divine power, but now it could annihilate the opponent's divine power. After killing nearly 30 experts of the 3rd level of the True Saint realm, Jian Wushuang's mood did not fluctuate much. He knew that it would not be difficult for him to kill all of them with his current strength under the premise of the space-time seal. He even knew from the beginning that these experts were only enough to loosen his muscles and bones, but they could not force him to use his full strength. Indeed, he had not used his full strength since the beginning of the fight. In fact, he had only revealed a small part of his strength. For me now, an ordinary rank 5 true saint is not a challenge. If it were a peak rank 5 true saint, he might be able to exert some pressure on me. As for a real threat to me, only a rank 6 true saint is qualified, Jian Wushuang said lightly. After restraining his aura, Jian Wushuang put the Blood Mountain sword back into his interspatial ring. After sweeping through the surrounding battlefield, he left immediately. Except for him, no one knew that nearly 30 true saint experts above rank 3 had died here. For God and the other experts who had been slaughtered could not spread the news even before they died. Because they were in the Master Seal, the entire space and time were under Jian Wushuang's control. Without Jian Wushuang's consent, no one could communicate with the outside world. Naturally, no one knew that For God and the others had been killed by him. On a hill far away from where Jian Wushuang and For God were fighting. Whoosh! Yuan Chong landed on the top of the hill and then put down Prince Qing on his back. Your Highness, we should be safe now. Yuan Chong exhaled lightly. Yes. Prince Qing nodded slightly. Shin For and the others had not been behind them for a long time. After that, they had fled for a long time. Unless they had some special marks on them, it was impossible for For God and the others to catch up with them. We should have saved our lives this time. In addition, we have to thank that little brother of the Heavenly Sword Marquis. If he had not stopped For God and the others for us, it would have been too easy for For God to catch up with us with his speed. Yuan Chong sighed softly. Speaking of which, that little brother Heavenly Sword Marquis is quite capable. When he said he would stop Xianxia and the others for us, I thought it was impossible. I didn't expect him to actually stop them. We should thank him. Highness Qing nodded slightly. She brought along a guard this time. One of them was a spy of the other party. When the other 8 people saw Xianxia and the others and sensed that the situation was not good, they immediately chose to flee. No one paid any attention to her. Only the Heavenly Sword Marquis did not escape. Later, when they fled, the Heavenly Sword Marquis also took the initiative to stay behind to help them stop For God and the others. Most importantly, he really stopped For God and the others. Could be said that they owed the Heavenly Sword Marquis a life. I wonder if he can survive from the hands of For God and the others, Princess Qing said. Well? Yuan Chong frowned and secretly shook his head. In his opinion, it was already amazing that Jian Wushuang could stop Xianxia and the others for a while. It was impossible for Jian Wushuang to survive the attacks of nearly 30 experts like Xianxia. He could imagine that the furious Xianxia and the others would definitely tear Jian Wushuang into pieces. Of course, he would not tell this to His Highness Qing. But at this moment... Yuan Chong's expression suddenly changed. He had already noticed that there was a message token vibrating in his interspatial ring. Is it your 6th prince who is sending me a message at this time? Yuan Chong thought it was his 6th prince who was sending him a message. After all, he had already reported the attack on His Highness Qing to his 6th prince on the way. Yuan Chong immediately flipped his hand and took out the token. However, when he took out the jade token and saw the message from the token, Yuan Chong was stunned. What's wrong? Prince Qing, who was beside him, noticed Yuan Chong's loss of composure and immediately looked over. Yes. It's the little brother of Heavenly Sword Marquis who sent the message, Yuan Chong said in astonishment. What? Prince Qing was stunned. But then he was overjoyed. He's still alive? The message token can only make one person recognize its owner. Now that he used the message token I gave him to send a message, he's definitely not dead, Yuan Chong said. He actually survived? Yuan Chong exclaimed in his heart. After all, there were nearly 30 experts above the rank 3 True Saint realm, and there was also Xianxia, a genuine rank 5 True Saint. Facing so many experts alone under normal circumstances, even a peak rank for True Saint could not survive. But now, Jian Wushuang could use the messaging token to send a message to him. Obviously, he was alive and well. Little brother Heavenly Sword Marquis said that he has already lost For God and asked where we are now. He will come and meet us, Yuan Chong said. Tell him the location, Prince Qing said. Yuan Chong nodded and immediately sent a message back. Then Prince Qing and Yuan Chong quietly waited here. Not long after they waited, a figure came from afar and soon appeared in front of them. This figure was Jian Wushuang. Prince Qing, Mr. Yuan Chong. Jian Wushuang greeted them. Yes, Prince Qing nodded slightly in response. Little brother Heavenly Sword Marquis, you really survived from Xianxia and the others? Yuan Chong looked at Jian Wushuang in amazement. I'm good at speed, and my life-saving skills are not bad. In addition, I was lucky enough to escape from them, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. But how did you stall them before? Yuan Chong could not help asking. Being good at speed and having strong life-saving skills, it was quite acceptable to be able to survive from Xianxia and the others. However, Jian Wushuang did not simply run for his life before. He first stopped Xianxia and the others by himself before running for his life. It was impossible for an ordinary person to stop nearly 30 experts for a period of time and then escape unscathed. I was able to stop them because I have a special treasure that can seal time and space for a short period of time. Naturally, I can also trap Xianxia and the others for a period of time, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Is that so? Yuan Chong raised his eyebrows. He looked at Jian Wushuang, but he could not tell whether Jian Wushuang was lying or not. Let's not talk about this. Your Highness Qing, the third prince has sent people to kill you, but I wonder if you plan to go to the Holy Feather sect next. Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, of course. His Highness Qing nodded without hesitation. Sixth brother has been at a disadvantage in the fight with third brother. Recently, his situation has been getting worse and worse. Especially just now, when I learned of third brother's secret methods, I became even more determined to go to the Holy Feather sect. Because only with the support of the Holy Feather sect can sixth brother have hope of defeating third brother. Jian Wushuang took a deep look at his Highness Qing and nodded slightly. In that case, let's not delay. Let's continue. Then I'll have to trouble you on the way. Yuan Chong had become very polite to Jian Wushuang. The three of them immediately went back to the Holy Feather sect. In the magnificent palace, a cold-looking man in a luxurious golden robe, the third prince, was sitting on the throne. For God and the others have all gone missing? The third prince's expression was obviously not good. Yes, apart from for God, I have also sent messages to ask about the experts he brought with him. But until now, there has been no reply. I think that they are either in a special space-time and have completely blocked the communication with the outside world, or they are all dead, a purple-robed middle-aged man said respectfully. The information we received before was very accurate. Qing did indeed only bring Yuan Chong and the 10-rank 3 true saints as personal guards, and 6 brothers' people have been under our surveillance the whole time. They didn't make any movements before. When they knew Qing was attacked, 6th brother's people immediately moved. This can eliminate the possibility that 6th brother deliberately set this trap. In that case, what happened to For God and the others? The third prince tapped his fingers on the armchair and pondered. After a long while, he raised his head again and said, Go, send someone to the place where For God and the others ambushed. We must find out what happened no matter what. Yes. The purple-robed, middle-aged man nodded respectfully and quickly left. Jian Wushuang, Prince Qing, and Yuan Chong continued on their way to the Holy Feather sect. They did not encounter any trouble along the way. A few days later, the 3 of them arrived in front of the Holy Feather sect. Your Highness, that's the Holy Feather sect. Yuan Chong pointed to an ancient sect in front of them. Yes. Prince Qing nodded with a hint of joy in his eyes. Although the Holy Feather sect was not one of the 3 pavilions, 9 courtyards, or the 12 divine sects, it was still a famous sect in the first heaven. It also had a certain level of heritage. The sect in front of him was rather magnanimous at a glance. Let's go down. Prince Qing immediately rushed down the mountain gate. Just as he landed in front of the mountain gate, the dozen or so Holy Feather sect disciples guarding it immediately surrounded him. Who are you? One of the white-robed disciples asked. My name is Mu Qing. I am from the Zhenwu kingdom. I am here to pay my respects to Elder Qi Chan of your sect, said Prince Qing. Pay my respects to Elder Qi Chan? Do you have Elder Qi Chen's token? Asked the white-robed disciple. Yes. Prince Qing immediately took out a token. Elder Qi-Chun gave this to me. He also told me to take this token to the Holy Feather sect to look for him. The white-robed disciple took the token and looked at it briefly. Then he nodded slightly and said, "It is indeed Elder Qi Chen's token. Wait here. I'll inform Elder Xian to take you in." "Thank you." Princess Qing thanked him. Not long after, a thin elder with white hair walked out of the Holy Feather sect and came to Jian Wushuang and the other two. "Who has Elder Qi Chen's token?" The thin elder glanced at Jian Wushuang and the other two. "It's me," Prince Qing said. "Come in with me," the thin elder said coldly. "My lord, these two are my guards. Can they come in with me?" Prince Qing asked. "Yes, but remember, don't run around in the sect. Otherwise, if anything happens in the sect, it won't be good," the thin elder said in a low voice. "Of course, we'll pay attention to it." Princess Qing nodded quickly. Immediately, the three followed the thin elder into the Holy Feather sect. An extremely grand sect also contained a lot of experts' auras. Of course, whether in terms of quantity or quality, the experts in the Holy Feather sect definitely could not compare to the experts in the Young Divine sect that Jian Wushuang had stayed in before. However, many experts in the Young Divine sect were hidden in the dark, but Jian Wushuang could not sense them. "Your name is Mu Qing? Is she the princess of the Zhen Wu kingdom?" The skinny elder who had been leading the way suddenly turned his head and asked. "Yes." Prince Qing nodded, but she did not dare to show any arrogance. She was very clear that if her identity as a princess was in the Zhen Wu country, it would naturally be incomparably lofty. However, if it was in the first sky, it would not be a big deal. After all, the first sky was vast and boundless. There were countless countries. Not many people would care about a mere princess from an ordinary country. At the very least, a sect like the Holy Feather sect could not care about the entire Zhen Wu country, let alone a princess from a country. "I have already confirmed with Elder Qi-chun that he indeed has the intention to take you as his disciple. However, whether you can really become his disciple will depend on your own ability," said the thin and weak elder. Prince Qing's expression changed, but his gaze became firm. Under the guidance of the thin and frail elder, it did not take long for the three of them to arrive at a huge training ground of the Holy Feather sect. There were quite a few people on the training ground at this moment, and in the middle of the training ground there was a special array formation. "Has the sky puppet array formation been set up?" The weathered elder called a person over to ask. "Elder Xian, it's already set up, but I wonder who is going to break through the sky puppet array formation?" The deacon replied. "Her." The thin elder pointed at Qing. He said, "Mu Qing, Elder Kitchen has already ordered you to challenge the sky puppet formation. If you can last 10 breaths in the sky puppet formation, you can become his in-name disciple. If you can last 20 breaths, you can become his personal disciple. But if you can't even last 10 breaths, then he will be wrong. You can go back to where you came from. Trying to break through this formation?" Prince Qing's expression was solemn as he immediately looked toward the formation at the center of the arena. The formation was extremely unique, and at the center of the formation were many incomparably tall and sturdy figures. These tall and sturdy figures were all powerful sky puppets. Every single one of them possessed true saint-level battle prowess, and there were 6 sky puppets within the formation. "Remember, you only have one chance. Go." The old man waved his hand. Princess Qing was a bit nervous. She took a deep breath, but her eyes quickly became resolute. Under the gazes of many Holy Feather sect disciples, Princess Qing entered the center of the array. "Let's begin." As the old man ordered, the deacon immediately activated the sky puppet array. In an instant, the 6 heavenly puppets in the center of the formation woke up and attacked Prince Qing. Prince Qing also took out a jade-green spear and fought with the heavenly puppets. As for Jian Wushuang and Yuan Chong, they watched from outside the formation. "Prince Qing, go for it." Yuan Chong clenched his hands, his eyes full of expectation. The 6 sky puppets seemed to be quite strong. Each one of them has the battle strength of a first-rank true saint. The 6 of them working together put a lot of pressure on Prince Qing. Jian Wushuang also watched everything in the formation. Suddenly, his pupils constricted again. No, the sky puppet magic formation is not that simple. The 6 heaven puppets have been increasing their strength during the fight with Prince Qing. Moreover, their speed of improvement is very fast. If they continue at this speed, their strength should reach the peak of rank 1 or even close to a rank 2 true saint in 20 breaths. It will be very difficult for them to resist the 6 sky puppets at the same time. Jian Wushuang could tell that the sky puppet formation was extraordinary. Inside the formation, Emperor Qing was fighting with the 6 sky puppets. At first, he was calm, but as time went by, it became more and more difficult. After 5 breaths, Emperor Qing was under a certain amount of pressure. After 10 breaths, Emperor Qing was completely suppressed by the 6 sky puppets. 10 breaths. Yuan Chang's heart skipped a beat. According to what the old man had said, as long as she could hold on for 10 breaths in the heavenly puppet formation, Princess Qing would be able to become the in-name disciple of Elder Qi Chun. Although the in-name disciple was far inferior to the personal disciple, it was still not bad. At the very least, they would not have come all this way for nothing. 12 breaths. Princess Qing. Hold on, you must hold on. Yuan Chong roared in his heart. Very soon, Her Highness Qing had walked through 14 breaths of time within the sky puppet array. At this moment, she had already been completely suppressed and forced into a sorry state by the 6 sky puppets. But she was still doing her best to hold on. And when Her Highness Qing was trapped within the sky puppet array, in the void not far away, several figures were slowly drifting forward. Sect Master Moon Reflection, your holy feather sect is really magnanimous. A calm laughter rang out. This laughter was said very casually, and it was unknown if it was really praising the holy feather sect, and the one who spoke was a black-haired demonic youth. The aura emitted from this black-haired demonic youth was not very strong and was only at the first-level true saint realm. Haha, my holy feather sect is only slightly bigger, but it doesn't have too many extraordinary things. Compared to many ancient sects in the first sky, it's too far away. For example, the Young Divine sect directly established its sect in a mystic realm of heaven and earth. How amazing is that? Also, take the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance where the 2 young friends are from. Legend has it that one of the 2 great headquarters of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, the Heaven-Cleaving Star, was moved back from the universe battlefield. It contains all sorts of mystical things. That's what makes it amazing, said a beautiful purple-clothed woman leisurely. After all, the Young Divine sect has given birth to a principal's master. It's normal for it to have a mystic realm of heaven and earth. As for the Heaven-Cleaving Star of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, that's incomparable, the black-haired demonic youth said. Of course. The purple-robed beautiful woman smiled. Oh! The black-haired demonic youth's expression suddenly moved, but his gaze landed on the martial practice field in front of him. That martial practice field seems to be very lively. What is it doing? This? The purple-robed beautiful woman also glanced at the training ground, and her expression could not help but change. It looks like someone is barging into the sky puppet formation. Sky puppet formation? Let's go and take a look. The black-haired demonic youth immediately rushed over, and beside him was a white-robed woman. Although she did not say anything, she still followed him. The purple-robed beautiful woman and a few experts from the Holy Feather sect behind her naturally followed. In the blink of an eye, these people had already arrived at the void around the training field. Is that your Holy Feather sect's sky puppet formation? It looks very ordinary. The black-robed devilish youth stared at the scene inside the sky puppet formation, but the corners of his mouth revealed a trace of disdain. Hee, although the strength of the 6 sky puppets in the sky puppet formation can continuously become stronger, no matter how strong they can only reach the 2nd-level true saint level. It's more than enough to test the strength of ordinary disciples, but it's useless to some top geniuses like you 2 young friends. The purple-robed beautiful woman said. Is the girl who is challenging the sky puppet array a disciple of the Holy Feather sect? The black-haired demonic youth asked casually. I haven't seen this girl yet, so she shouldn't be a disciple of our Holy Feather sect yet. However, she has already lasted for 15 breaths in the sky puppet array. Judging from her appearance, she should be able to last for 18 breaths. To be able to last so long in the sky puppet array, She is considered quite outstanding among the disciples of our Holy Feather sect, said the purple-clothed beautiful woman. However, the black-haired devilish youth still did not care about it. He did not even bother to look at the sky puppet array again. Instead, he turned his gaze to the training grounds. However, with just a casual glance, his pupils suddenly constricted. His gaze was completely fixed on a person on the training grounds. Mirage water, mirage water, the black-haired devilish youth hurriedly shouted. What's wrong? The silent white-robed woman looked over. Look! Look who it is! The black-haired demonic youth's voice was trembling. The white-robed woman looked in the direction the black-haired demonic youth had pointed, and her eyes instantly widened. Both of them were staring at that person, and that person was Jian Wushuang. It's him. It's definitely him. Although his appearance has been disguised, the extent of the disguise is not big. I can recognize him at a glance. The black-haired, evil-looking young man and the white-robed woman instantly confirmed Jian Wushuang's identity. They had not only seen Jian Wushuang but also had a deep impression of him. Even if Jian Wushuang had disguised himself a little, they could still recognize him. Why is he here? The black-haired, evil-looking young man was trembling. I don't know. The white-robed woman shook her head. What should we do? Should we go over? No hurry. He is standing outside the sky puppet formation. It seems that the woman who is breaking through the formation is related to him. Let's wait here and wait for the woman to finish breaking through the formation before we go over. The black-haired, evil-looking young man said. All right. The white-robed woman nodded heavily as well. The two of them conversed softly. The purple-haired beauty beside them did not hear what they were saying, nor did she notice that they had lost their composure. Inside the sky puppet formation, Princess Qing gritted her teeth and unleashed her full strength. It was not just her strength, but also her tenacity. In fact, she should have been defeated by the 6 sky puppets a long time ago, but she was unwilling to give up. She had been fighting with all her might, putting her life on the line just to hold on for the last few breaths. 20 breaths. No matter what, I have to hold on for 20 breaths. Only in this way can I become the personal disciple of Elder Kitchen. Only by becoming the personal disciple can I have the right to ask Elder Kitchen to come out and ask the Holy Feather Sect to come out and help 6th brother. The conviction in Princess Qing's heart was abnormally firm. It was this conviction that had been driving her, causing her to not give up until now. 17 breaths. 18 breaths. Very quickly, Princess Qing held on for the 19th breath. He actually held on for 19 breaths? The beautiful woman in purple beside the martial arts practice field revealed a surprised expression. She had long seen through Prince Qing's strength. In her opinion, Prince Qing being able to last for 18 breaths in the sky puppet formation was already his limit, but she did not expect that he could last for 19 breaths. And now she was trying to last for 20 breaths. Bang! A low and deep sound rang out, and a terrifying force smashed directly onto Prince Qing's divine body. Prince Qing's body instantly turned into a stream of light and was directly blasted out of the sky puppet formation. In the 20th breath, Qing Air still could not endure it. Fortunately, she still couldn't endure it in the 20th breath. However, with her strength, she was able to endure it for 19 breaths. This belief is very strong. This girl's tenacity and willpower are also very outstanding. The purple-robed beautiful woman looked at Qing Air, who was blasted out of the sky puppet formation. A trace of admiration could be seen in her beautiful eyes. At this moment, Prince Qing had already stabilized her body, but her face was deathly pale. She stood outside the sky puppet formation with both her hands clenched tightly. Her fingertips were already as smooth as flesh and blood, and her body was trembling slightly. She was unwilling. It was clearly only the last breath, but she had failed. You persisted in the sky puppet formation for 19 breaths of time. According to what Elder Kitchen said, you are qualified to become his in-name disciple. Elder Kitchen is currently in closed-door cultivation. After some time, when Elder Kitchen comes out of closed-door cultivation, you will be able to accept him as your master. The weathered old man stared at Prince Qing. His expression was even colder than before. Honorary disciples and personal disciples seemed to be disciples, but there was a huge gap between them. One had to know that all the powerful elders in the Holy Feather sect had many honorary disciples under them. For example, Elder Kitchen had more than 10 honorary disciples, but he only had one personal disciple. The difference in status, of course, he did not think so. Previously, the vicissitudes of life elder thought that Prince Qing might become Elder Kitchen's personal disciple, so he was quite polite to Prince Qing. But now that he was only an in-name disciple, his attitude naturally changed. "I have an urgent matter. Can I go and see Master now?" Prince Qing asked. No, the vicissitudes of life elder shook his head. If he was a personal disciple, if he had urgent matters to attend to, he could naturally seek an audience with him. However, an in-name disciple was just a name. Elder Kitchen probably would not even take it to heart. How could he let him disturb his closed-door cultivation? Upon hearing the old man's reply, Princess Qing's face turned deathly pale. Right at this moment. So. Several figures suddenly swept down from the surrounding void and arrived in front of Her Highness Qing. When the vicissitudes of life old man saw who it was, he immediately bowed and saluted. "Greetings, Sect Master." The Sect Master was naturally referring to the purple-robed beauty. This purple-robed beauty was the current Sect Master of the Holy Feather sect, Ingyu. Most people called her the Sect Master of the Moon Reflection sect. "Get up." Sect Master Ingyu waved her hand, and the weathered elder immediately stood up. Besides Sect Master Ingyu, the black-haired, evil-looking young man and the white-robed woman took a deep breath. They both stepped forward and approached Jian Wushuang with some restraint. Then, under Sect Master Ingyu's somewhat shocked gaze, they directly bowed to Jian Wushuang. At the same time, the black-haired, evil-looking youth said, "Evil Master, greetings, Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis. I didn't expect you to be in the Holy Feather sect." Sect Master Moon Reflection was stunned. "Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you?" Sect Master Ingyue looked at the two people around her in astonishment. Although they were only rank 1 true saints, she was very clear about their origins and identities. Even she was polite to them and did not put on any airs. But now, these two people actually treated each other so humbly. They called each other sir, and even addressed each other as you? Who was this person? "It's you too." Jian Wushuang glanced at the black-haired, evil-looking young man and the white-robed woman. They were the two geniuses from the primitive palace he met in the Bone region, the Evil Master and Mirage Water. When the three geniuses from the primitive palace joined hands, they were easily defeated by Jian Wushuang. Later, on the heaven-cleaving star, they saw Jian Wushuang easily defeat Gu Tong, the number 1 genius of the first stage of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces. Naturally, they were in awe of Jian Wushuang. "It's rare that you still remember us." The evil master smiled. "Not long ago, we saw you on the heaven-cleaving star. However, there were too many people, so we didn't come forward to greet you. Later, you entered the heaven-cleaving mystic realm and stayed there for a long time. We don't know when you left." Heaven-cleaving star? Heaven-cleaving mystic realm. When the Moon Reflection Sect Master heard these words, her pupils contracted secretly. "Young friend Evil Master, could it be that this young brother is also a member of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces?" No. Sir Heavenly Sword Marquis is not a subordinate of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces," said the Evil Master. "Then why did he go to the heaven-cleaving star and enter the heaven-cleaving mystic realm?" The Moon Reflection Sect Master was puzzled. She was the sect master of the Holy Feather sect after all and had some knowledge. She had heard of the heaven-cleaving mystic realm before. The heaven-cleaving mystic realm was one of the greatest opportunities in the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces. Even within the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces, only a handful of people were qualified to enter it. Sect Master Ingyu, you may not know this, but although Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis is not a member of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces, the 3 palace masters of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces personally gave the order to make an exception for Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis to enter the heaven-cleaving mystic realm once. The evil master said with a smile. 3 palace masters make an exception? Moon Reflection Sect Master was stunned, and huge waves immediately surged up from the bottom of his heart. The three palace masters of the heaven-cleaving three palaces were all supreme existences. They were the top-notch principles masters. Any one of these supreme experts was enough to sweep through the entire first heaven. For example, although the 3 pavilions and 9 courtyards of the first heaven had a certain level of strength, they were nothing in front of the heaven-cleaving alliance's palace masters. How could the 3 palace masters make an exception for the heavenly sword marquis in front of them? Sect Master Ing Yu stared at Jian Wushuang with a strange expression. Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis, why are you here in the Holy Feather Sect? The evil master asked. I followed her here. Jian Wushuang glanced at Prince Qing. Her? The evil master looked at Prince Qing and asked curiously, Is this girl related to you, Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis? Sort of. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. I'll be her guard for a while. Guard? The evil master's expression became even more strange. Sect Master Inyue's eyes lit up, and then she stepped forward and asked, Girl, what's your name, and where are you from? Sect Master Inyue's question made her nervous and excited. She suppressed her emotions and answered, Sect Master, my name is Mu Qing, and I'm from the true martial kingdom. Sect Master, this Mu Qing has Elder Qi Chen's token. She came here this time to enter Elder Qi Chen's tutelage. However, Elder Qi Chen asked her to break through the sky puppet array. She can only become his personal disciple after enduring for 20 breaths in the sky puppet array. This Mu Qing only lasted for 19 breaths. Therefore, she can only become an in-name disciple. The weathered elder at the side said immediately, In-name disciple? The Moon Reflection Sect Master frowned slightly. This girl's tenacity and willpower are both very good. I also find her very pleasing to the eye. How about this? Let Elder Qi Chen give her to me. I haven't accepted a disciple in a long time either. Sect Master, you want to accept her as a disciple? The vicissitudes of life old man looked over in astonishment. Princess Qing also raised her head abruptly and looked at the Moon Reflection Sect Master in disbelief. I want to take you in as a disciple, and a personal disciple at that. The sect master of the Reflection Moon sect looked at His Highness Qing. However, there are certain conditions for you to become my disciple. I still have some matters that I have yet to settle. After some time has passed, I will personally arrange a test for you. If you can pass my test, you can become my personal disciple. How about it? Thank you, Lord Sect Master. Prince Qing was pleasantly surprised. You are welcome. Sect Master Ing Yu waved his hand. May I ask, Lord Sect Master, how long will it take for the test to be ready? Clearly, Prince Qing was somewhat anxious. Why are you so anxious? Do you have other matters? Sect Master Ing Yu looked over. Yes, I do. Prince Qing hesitated for a moment. Then, he briefly recounted some of the things that had happened in the Zhenwu Kingdom. The competition for the ruler? So that's how it is. The expression of the sect master of the Moon Reflecting Sect changed. You want my Holy Feather Sect to step forward and help your 6th brother? Yes. His Highness Qing clenched his teeth. The sect master of the Moon Reflecting Sect glanced at His Highness Qing and immediately smiled. Your talent is not bad. Moreover, I admire your tenacity and perseverance. Even if you are unable to pass my test and become my personal disciple in the end, it is not a problem for you to become a core disciple of my Holy Feather Sect. Since you have encountered some trouble now, my Holy Feather Sect will naturally step forward to help you. Xian Sect. Sect Master Ing Yu glanced at the weathered elder and said, Go and invite Elder Zixing. Ask him to go to the true martial kingdom with you. Help this girl solve the troubles in the true martial kingdom and then come back. Yes. The weathered elder nodded respectfully and immediately went to invite Elder Zixing. Thank you, Sect Master. Prince Qing was very excited, and Yuan Chong was also so excited that his body was trembling. I told you there was no need to be so polite. The Moon Reflection Sect Master only smiled faintly, but her eyes were looking at Jian Wushuang, whether intentionally or not. Jian Wushuang had been standing there with his arms crossed. His expression was cold, as if it had nothing to do with what was in front of him. However, although Jian Wushuang did not make any movements, he could still see that the reason why the Moon Reflection Sect master wanted to take Prince Qing as a personal disciple and ask the Holy Feather Sect to solve the trouble in the Genuine Force country was because of him. It was because of him. Not long after, the Weathered Elder came with Elder Zixing. The aura that Elder Zixing emitted was that of a genuine rank 6 true saint. Zixing, go to the true martial kingdom with the Xian sect. After you solve the girl's problem, bring her back to the sect. Sect Master Ingyu said. Yes. Zixing nodded. Sect Master Ingyu, the evil master said. We will also go to the true martial kingdom with Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis. We won't stay any longer. Okay. Sect Master Ingyu was very polite. Jian Wushuang and the others immediately set off. After Jian Wushuang and the others left the Holy Feather Sect, an elder of the Holy Feather Sect came forward. Sect Master, are you really going to take Mu Qing as your personal disciple? The elder asked in surprise. Yes, I am. Sect Master Ingyu nodded. Is it because of Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis? The elder asked. Yes, but not entirely, the sect master said with a smile. She did admire Mu Qing, but under normal circumstances, even if she did, she would not directly say that she wanted to take him as her personal disciple. The reason why she gave Mu Qing such an opportunity was because of Jian Wushuang. She even sent people to the true martial kingdom to solve his problems, largely because of Jian Wushuang. Who is the Heavenly Sword Marquis? The elder asked, puzzled. I don't know. But I can be sure that his background is extraordinary. The Moon Reflection Sect Master's expression became solemn. The Evil Master and Mirage Water are already the genius disciples of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces and the primitive palace. And this Heavenly Sword Marquis is clearly an extraordinary genius as well. Moreover, he was able to make the Evil Master and Mirage Water revere him so much that he even respectfully addressed him as Sir, and even addressed him as you. Such treatment is something that not even the super monsters of the Chaos Palace can do. In addition to what the Evil Master just said, this Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis actually made an exception for the 3 palace masters of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces to give him a spot in the heaven-cleaving mystic realm. This is simply inconceivable. If I'm not mistaken, this Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis either has a background that reaches the heavens, or he has incredible talent. It's even possible that he has both. If the first type has such a huge background, then it wouldn't be wrong for us to think of ways to befriend them. And if the second type, that incredible genius, just because he didn't join the 3 palaces, if he joined the 3 palaces, his status wouldn't be inferior to the principal's master. What? The elder stared. Just a rank 3 true saint, but his status was comparable to the principal's master? So no matter what, this Heavenly Sword Marquis isn't someone our Holy Feather Sect can offend. Moreover, he's worth us thinking of ways to befriend him. I just accepted Mu Qing as a disciple, so I'm doing this Heavenly Sword Marquis a favor. Of course, although this favor won't make this Heavenly Sword Marquis grateful, in the future, when our Holy Feather Sect interacts with him again, it'll definitely be much easier, Moon Reflection Sect's Sect Master said. I see. The elder immediately understood. Sect Master is wise. In the void outside the Holy Feather Sect, Jian Wushuang, Mu Qing, Yuanchong, Xiaxia, Mirage Water, and Elder Zixing from the Holy Feather Sect were standing there with Xian Zong. Elder Zixing is a genuine rank 6 true saint, and Lord Xian Zong is a peak rank 5 true saint expert. With these 2 lords following us to the true martial kingdom, the threat of the 3rd prince to your highness will cease immediately. Yuanchong looked at Elder Zixing and Xian Zong beside him. He looked extremely excited. Thank you, Mr. Heavenly Marquis. Mu Qing looked at Jian Wushuang and said gratefully. She was not stupid. In the Holy Feather Sect, she could see that the reason why the sect master of the Moon Reflecting Sect was so polite to her and even gave her the opportunity to become his personal disciple was very important. It was because of the guard Heavenly Sword Marquis. The sect master of the Moon Reflection Sect was obviously a favor to Heavenly Sword Marquis. Although her talent was good, she was not too outstanding in the Holy Feather Sect. For example, Elder Chi Chun of the Holy Feather sect only accepted her as an in-name disciple according to the result of her breaking through the sky puppet formation. But now, she had a great chance to become the personal disciple of the sect master of the Moon Reflection sect, which was equivalent to ascending to the heavens in one step. I didn't do anything. As for the Holy Feather sect, you fought for it yourself. Jian Wushuang's voice was calm, and he did not take credit for it. Indeed, he did not do anything. He just stood there and did not say much. As for the Moon Reflection sect master and the others wanting to give him face and help him, he just did not refuse. No matter what, I still have to thank you, Mu Qing said once again. All right, let's talk about the rest later. Let's go to the true martial kingdom first and settle the troubles there first. Elder Zixing said from the side. Mu Qing nodded slightly. Immediately, the group of people headed straight for the true martial kingdom. In the magnificent palace, the third prince was still seated on the throne at the very top. However, the third prince's expression was extremely ugly. Trash! A bunch of trash! A low shout filled with anger exploded within the large hall. Many experts stood in the middle of the hall, and their bodies trembled slightly when they heard this shout. Humph, that God is really stupid. He's a rank 5 true saint, and he brought close to 30 rank 3 and rank 4 true saints to kill Ah Qing, who only had 10 rank 3 true saints protecting him. It's fine that he didn't kill Ah Qing, but he even lost himself. Close to 30 experts and not a single one survived. Moreover, not even the slightest bit of information was transmitted. I really don't know what they did before they died. Even if it was 30 pigs, before they were killed, they should at least roar twice. At this moment, the third prince's fury was indeed overflowing to the heavens. He had just received news that Mu Qing had already arrived at the Holy Feather sect. Moreover, he seemed to have a certain relationship with the sect master of the Moon Reflection sect within the Holy Feather sect. The sect master of the Moon Reflection sect had actually sent 2 experts to follow Mu Qing toward the true martial kingdom. Your Highness, Xianxia and the others have already died. It's useless to be angry at this time. As for why they were completely annihilated and everyone had died there, we can forget about that for now. But right now, our top priority is to think about what we should do next. The purple-robed, middle-aged man who was leading the group said. His voice was unusually grave. His Highness Qing has already gone to the Holy Feather sect and has already formed a relationship with them. The Holy Feather sect has even sent a rank 6 and a peak rank 5 true saint from the Zhenwu kingdom. That peak rank 5 true saint is still alright. With our strength, we can find someone to contend against him. However, the key point is that rank 6 true saint is not easy to deal with. The purple-robed, middle-aged man's words caused everyone in the hall to frown, and everyone rushed to the bottom of the heart of extraordinary pressure. Although a rank 5 true saint was the top elite warrior in the Zhenwu country, there were still some in the entire country. With the power of the third prince, it was not difficult to find an elite warrior who could compete with a rank 5 true saint. However, a rank 6 true saint, it must be known that the strongest warrior in the Zhenwu country was the king of the Zhenwu country who had suddenly disappeared. He was only a rank 6 true saint. Previously, the king of the Zhenwu country was also the only rank 6 true saint in the Zhenwu country. Now that the king of the Zhenwu country had disappeared, how could the Zhenwu country still have the combat power to fight against a rank 6 true saint? Thus, if that rank 6 true saint from the Holy Feather sect had arrived in the Zhenwu country and gathered with the 6th prince to attack them directly, they would not have any room to resist. Humph! A level 6 true saint. So what? A fierce light flashed in the third prince's eyes like an electric arc. If Ah Qing could find the Holy Feather sect to help, wouldn't I find helpers? A rank 6 true saint was indeed invincible in the Zhenwu country. However, this was the first heaven, where the number of experts was as high as the clouds. It would not be difficult to find 1 or 2 rank 6 true saints. The third prince's face was gloomy, but he already had an idea in his heart. Immediately, the third prince took out a communication talisman and used it to communicate with others. After a short moment, the third prince revealed a bright smile. Everyone, there is no need to rush. It won't be long before the helpers that I have invited will arrive." Hearing the third prince's words, the powerhouses in the palace looked at each other in dismay and felt much more at ease. The third prince began to wait. This wait only lasted for 10 days. In front of the huge mansion where the third prince lived, two figures sped over and stopped in midair. "Mu Feng." A majestic voice came from one of the people's mouth and resounded in the world. Mu Feng was the third prince's real name. There were many people who knew this real name, but usually, no one dared to call him by his name. Most people called him His Highness or the Third Prince. But now, the person who came called the Third Prince by his name. Moreover, when the Third Prince heard this voice, he was not angry, but happy instead. Whoosh! 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 Surrounded by a group of people, the Third Prince's figure immediately appeared in front of the two people. "Ha ha, Brother Yixiao." The Third Prince laughed heartily, and his eyes were filled with joy. The person whom the Third Prince called Brother Yixiao was actually a blood-haired young man dressed in luxurious clothes. This blood-haired young man had a cold expression, and he carried a blood-colored battle saber on his back. His aura was especially cold. Chu Yixiao was a genius disciple from the Purple Heaven Pavilion. He had a cold temperament, but when he saw the Third Prince arrive, a rare smile appeared on Chu Yixiao's face. "Mu Feng, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Is it good to see you?" "It's all right. It's just that I've encountered some trouble recently." The Third Prince deliberately sighed. After that, he turned his gaze toward a white-bearded old man beside Chu Yixiao. That white-bearded old man's gaze was cloudy. Standing there, his entire person looked like a celestial being. "Brother Yixiao, who is this senior?" the Third Prince asked. "This is Deacon Long from my Purple Sky Pavilion. I know that you've encountered some trouble. You're worried that I won't be able to resolve it by myself, so I've invited Deacon Long to come with me. Deacon Long is a genuine rank 6 true saint. Moreover, his strength isn't ordinary." Chu Yixiao said. "Rank 6 true saint?" The Third Prince's eyes lit up, but he immediately bowed. "Mu Feng greets Deacon Long. Get up." The sage-like white-bearded old man, Deacon Long, glanced indifferently at the Third Prince. "This old man has come because of Yixiao. Tell me, what do you want this old man to do for you?" "There is no rush. I have already ordered someone to prepare a banquet. Let's drink while we talk. What do you think?" the Third Prince said. "Okay." Yixiao nodded. Immediately, the three of them returned to the magnificent palace. In the magnificent palace, wine and meat were served on the table. Only then did the Third Prince begin to recount the trouble he had encountered. "This is how it is. If the Holy Feather sect had not appeared, the position of king of the Zhenwu kingdom would have been mine for sure. But now it's troublesome." After the Third Prince had finished speaking, he quietly raised his head and looked at Chu Yixiao and Deacon Long. Deacon Long's death was very ordinary. It seemed that what the Third Prince had said had nothing to do with him. Chu Yixiao also slightly frowned. "Mu Feng, this matter of yours is indeed troublesome. After all, the Holy Feather sect is located near the Zhenwu country. Even if the Holy Feather sect forcefully forced the Zhenwu country to become its subordinate, I don't think anyone would say anything. And now, your sister has become a disciple of the Holy Feather sect. She might even become the personal disciple of the sect master of the Holy Feather sect. So, it's only natural for the Holy Feather sect to help her resolve the internal conflicts in the Zhenwu country. No, since Qing can make the Zhenwu country submit to the Holy Feather sect, then I can also make the Zhenwu country submit to the Purple Cloud Pavilion," the Third Prince said. "Submit to the Purple Cloud Pavilion?" Chu Yixiao's expression changed. Immediately, he said with a smile, "Mu Feng, it's not that you don't know. Although our Purple Cloud Pavilion is much more powerful than the Holy Feather sect, our Purple Cloud Pavilion is too far away from the Zhenwu country. We don't know how many territories are separated in the middle. How could we care about this Zhenwu country?" "That's true, but it's not absolute. Brother Yixiao, Deacon Long, the reason why I invited the two of you here today is that I hope that you can think of a way. All right, this is the gift I prepared for the two of you. I hope that you can accept it." Mu Feng waved his hand and took out 2 interspatial rings. Chu Yixiao and Deacon Long each had one. Deacon Long glanced at the interspatial rings and nodded slightly. As for Chu Yixiao, the corners of his mouth curled up, but his expression could not help but darken. Humph! The Holy Feather sect is just an unranked sect in the first heaven. They have quite a wide scope of control. Mufeng, don't worry. Since I'm here with Deacon Long today, I'll naturally lend you a hand. Many thanks, Brother Yixiao. The third prince was overjoyed, but he secretly pursed his lips in his heart. He and Chu Yixiao were indeed once friends. Before Chu Yixiao joined the Purple Cloud Pavilion, the two of them had taken risks together, but it was only an adventure. After all, they did not really share life and death together, so they could only be considered friends. Of course, the other party would not work for him for free. Therefore, although he did not refuse at the beginning, he said that it would be difficult to deal with all kinds of trouble. But now, as soon as he took out the meeting gift, Chu Yixiao immediately changed his attitude. Sure enough, money could make the devil move the millstone. Mufeng, let's not waste any time. Gather your men and we'll set off directly, Chu Yixiao said. Set off directly? Kill our way to our door now. The third prince was startled. Of course, Deacon Long and I don't plan to stay for too long this time. Moreover, if we delay, things will change, Chu Yixiao said with a smile. Okay. The third prince nodded and immediately went to prepare. After a month of traveling, Jian Wushuang and the others returned to the true martial kingdom and the mansion where the sixth prince lived. The sixth prince was already waiting there. Sixth brother. Mu Qing came to the front of the sixth prince. Qing, are you okay? The sixth prince asked. I'm fine. Mu Qing shook his head. Then, he began to introduce sixth brother. Let me introduce you. These two are Elder Zixing from the Holy Feather sect and Lord Xianxia. They were personally sent by Sect Master Yingyu to help us. The sixth prince immediately looked at Elder Zixing and Xianxia. Elder Zixing and Xianxia did not conceal their auras either. The sixth prince could clearly sense the auras of those rank 5 and rank 6 peak true saints. Zhenwu Kingdom's Mu Yun greets the two lords. The sixth prince immediately bowed respectfully. Elder Zixing glanced at the sixth prince and waved his hand. However, he did not say anything. Xianxia also appeared very cold. The reason why they had come to Zhenwu country was that they had received the orders of the Moon Reflection Sect Master. As for Mu Yun's so-called identity as the sixth prince of Zhenwu country, they did not care about it at all. And these two are the two geniuses from the heaven-cleaving 3-palace original palace, the Evil Master and the Mirage Water. Mu Qing said again. Heaven-cleaving 3 palaces? The sixth prince's expression immediately changed. He had also heard of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces. It was said that geniuses were as numerous as the clouds there. Any one of them would be a favored son of heaven. Their status was also not something that a mere prince from an ordinary kingdom like him could compare to. Greetings. The sixth prince also bowed humbly. Yes. The evil master nodded slightly in response. Sixth brother, and this is Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis. He was invited by you before. The reason why I was able to arrive at the Holy Feather sect smoothly and even ask the Moon Reflection sect master to send experts to help is because of Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis, Mu Qing said. Oh! The sixth prince raised his eyebrows and looked at Jian Wushuang with a humble smile. Jian Wushuang did not care at all. Everyone, I have arranged a banquet to welcome you. Come with me, the sixth prince said with a smile. Immediately, everyone followed the sixth prince into the mansion below. In a magnificent hall, singing and dancing were very lively. The sixth prince sat at the top of the hall with a wine cup in his hand and said, Mu Yun is very grateful that all of you have come to help me this time. Here's a toast to all of you. With that, the sixth prince drank the wine in his hand. After drinking it, he wiped his mouth and looked down. He found that the people sitting on both sides of the table, whether it was Elder Zixing, Xianxia, Evil Master, or Mirage Water, did not pay any attention to him at all. They did not pay any attention to him at all. Elder Zixing and Xianxia looked extremely cold. The former closed his eyes directly, and even if he opened his eyes slightly, he would look in Jian Wushuang's direction. Meanwhile, Evil Master and Mirage Water had been looking at Jian Wushuang with an embarrassed smile. Evil Master had been toasting Jian Wushuang. This scene inevitably made Sixth Prince feel a little awkward. With a sigh, the Sixth Prince put down the wine cup in his hand and asked in a low voice, "Ah Qing, what's going on? Why do I feel that this banquet has nothing to do with it? Is the main character of the banquet Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis?" Sixth brother, I've told you before that although Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis was invited by you, his identity and ability are extraordinary. I don't know the details, but I can tell you that even the sect master of the Holy Feather sect, Ing Yu, seems to want to curry favor with Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis. Mu Qing said softly. Even sect master Moon Reflection wants to curry favor with him? The Sixth Prince was stunned. He glanced at Evil Master and Mirage Water and nodded slightly. I can see that Evil Master and Mirage Water are genius disciples of the heaven-cleaving Three Palaces original palace. Their status is very high, but they are obviously full of respect for Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis and very respectful. This Mr. Heavenly Sword Marquis background is really extraordinary. That's right, Mu Qing said. After knowing this, the Sixth Prince did not feel uncomfortable. He calmed down and completely gave the main character to Jian Wushuang. However, the banquet did not last long. Whoosh! A figure hurriedly walked in from outside the hall, walked to the Sixth Prince's side, and whispered something in his ear. The Sixth Prince stood up and his eyes sharpened. Everyone. The Sixth Prince looked around and said, I'm afraid this is the end of the banquet. I've received news that the Third Prince has gathered all his experts and is coming to kill us. He's coming? He's going to kill us so soon. Mu Qing was stunned. Jian Wushuang and the others in the hall also looked up at the Sixth Prince. He must have heard that the Holy Feather sect is on my side and sent 2 experts. He had no choice but to act immediately. I also heard that the Third Prince also asked for help, the Sixth Prince said. The Third Prince had many spies around him. Of course, he also sent some experts to infiltrate the Third Prince's subordinates. Therefore, when the powerhouses under the Third Prince's command came out in full force, he had also received the news immediately. Elder Zixing, Lord Xianxia, I'm afraid we will have to trouble the 2 of you with this big battle, the Sixth Prince said. The 2 of us have come under the order of the sect master to settle the dispute in the Zhenwu country. Naturally, we will take action. Elder Zixing said in a low voice. Then I will have to trouble the 2 of you. The Sixth Prince let out a light breath. In terms of strength, the power controlled by the Third Prince was indeed much stronger than his. If the Third Prince had gone all out to attack him previously, he would not have had much confidence. But now, with the existence of Elder Zixing and the Xian sect, the 2 experts of the Holy Feather sect, especially since Elder Zixing was a genuine rank 6 true saint, this made him very confident. Yuan Chong, immediately send the order to gather all the experts under my command. Also, inform Xingang to get the Purple Blood Camp ready. The Sixth Prince ordered. Yes. Yuan Chong nodded and immediately went to send the order. Following the Sixth Prince's order, the experts under his command, including those who had been loyal to him since a long time ago, as well as the many experts he had invited with great rewards, all began to gather quickly. In less than 2 hours, the many experts had already gathered. In this huge mansion, there were already over 200 people standing together, and almost all of them were at least a rank 2 true saint. There were not even many rank 2 true saints, and most of them were rank 3 true saints, and there were also some rank 4 true saints. There was also an army of more than 40 people in purple armor in the air. The Purple Sky Pavilion was the most elite and strongest force of all the forces controlled by the Sixth Prince. Although the Purple Sky Pavilion only had about 40 people, the weakest among them was a rank 4 true saint, and there were quite a few peak rank 4 true saints. As for a rank 5 true saint, just in the Purple Sky Pavilion alone, there were 4 of them. In addition to the Purple Sky Pavilion, there were 3 other rank 5 true saints gathered here. In other words, there were 7 experts at the rank 5 true saint realm under the command of the Sixth Prince. Among them, Xingang, the commander of the Purple Sky Pavilion, had reached the peak of rank 5. No wonder the sixth prince was able to fight against the third prince for so long. It turns out that he has such a powerful force under his command. Jian Wushuang was secretly amazed. There were 7 rank 5 true saints, dozens of rank 4 true saints, and more than 200 rank 3 true saints. Such a powerful force was enough to conquer a small country in the first heaven. Not long after the sixth prince gathered his power, a large number of experts suddenly spread their auras in the void in front of the mansion. "They're here!" The experts in the mansion raised their heads in unison. A large number of black dots suddenly appeared in the void in the distance. Those black dots were densely packed, and in the blink of an eye, they appeared in front of the mansion. Then, a large number of figures began to appear. Buzz, buzz, buzz. One after another, powerful auras spread out from these figures. At this moment, there were already more than 300 cultivators who had arrived, and all of them had extremely powerful auras. Even the weakest one was a rank 3 true saint, and there was not even a cultivator below the rank 3. There were also quite a few rank 4 true saints. As for the rank 5 true saints, there were actually a total of 9 rank 5 true saints spreading their auras from the crowd in front. 9 rank 5 true saints, along with a large number of 4th and rank 3 true saints, more than 300 experts appeared in the air in front of the residence, instantly causing the experts under the sixth prince's command to feel an enormous pressure. As expected, in terms of strength, the third prince's strength is even stronger. Many people sighed in their hearts. At the front of the crowd, the third prince, who was wearing a luxurious golden robe, had a cold expression on his face. He looked at the people in the residence through the layer of restrictions above the residence. "Sixth prince, as your elder brother, I personally came to see you. It's fine if you didn't come to see me, but why did you activate the array to shut us out?" The third prince's magnificent voice spread throughout the world. "Humph! You came to see me? You came all the way here with all the experts under your command just to see me? Aren't you afraid that others will laugh at you if you tell others?" The sixth prince snorted coldly. "Haha, I do have a motive. However, if you think that the array around your mansion is enough to stop me, you are a little too naive." The third prince sneered. "I don't want to hide in this mansion forever. Since you took the initiative to kill your way here today, then the two of us should really put an end to it." The sixth prince said in a deep voice. "Put an end to it? You didn't have the guts to say this before. It seems that Qing invited an expert from the Sacred Feather Sect to give you enough confidence." The third prince said in a cold voice. "That's right. Today, with Elder Zixing from the Holy Feather Sect and Lord Xianxia here, you can forget about stirring up any more trouble," the sixth prince said in a low voice. Elder Zixing and Xianxia also took the initiative to release their own divine power auras. It had to be said that the divine power auras of a rank 6 true saint and a peak rank 5 true saint were very powerful. Sensing these two auras, a trace of panic flashed through the eyes of the experts under the third prince's command. But right at this moment, Holy Feather Sect, a mere unranked sect, yet it's so imposing. An indifferent laughter suddenly sounded out. The person who laughed was surprisingly Chu Yixiao, who was standing beside the third prince. At the same time that Chu Yixiao spoke, Deacon Long suddenly raised his head. Boom! Boom! A similarly tyrannical divine power aura erupted. This divine power aura was not weaker than Elder Zixing's, and it was even slightly stronger. A rank 6 true saint. Another rank 6 true saint. The experts under the sixth prince's command were all shocked. The experts from the third prince's camp all let out a sigh of relief when they sensed that there was another rank 6 true saint, and that his aura was even stronger. Since there was a rank 6 true saint in both camps, there was nothing to be afraid of. "Who are you?" Elder Zixing narrowed his eyes and stared at Deacon Long, who was emitting divine power. "Deacon Long of the Purple Sky Pavilion," Deacon Long said coldly. "Purple Sky Pavilion?" Elder Zixing's expression changed. The experts of the sixth prince's camp were all shocked. Even Jian Wushuang's pupils constricted. Purple Sky Pavilion was too famous in the first heaven. In the first heaven, the 3 pavilions, 9 courtyards, and the 12 divine sects stood at the top. The 12 divine sects alone were very powerful and had a deep foundation. It was not surprising that the 12 divine sects had given birth to Principal's Masters. Even if the Principal's Masters had either died or lost their whereabouts, the 12 divine sects all had top-notch immortal saints guarding them. The 12 divine sects were like this, and the 3 pavilions and 9 courtyards which were above the 12 divine sects were naturally even more powerful. Especially the 3 pavilions. They were the 3 overlords of the first heaven. Jian Wushuang had read the information of the 3 pavilions before. To be able to become one of the 3 pavilions, the purple pavilion must have a living Principal's Master guarding it. Just this alone was enough to scare people. The purple sky pavilion also had immortal saints who were invincible. There were many top-level and peak-level immortal saints, and their overall strength was extremely powerful. Compared to the purple sky pavilion, the Holy Feather sect was nothing. After all, the Holy Feather sect was far inferior to the 12 divine sections. The most powerful sect master of the Holy Feather sect, Moon Reflection sect, was only a rank 7 true saint. Moreover, in the entire Holy Feather sect, there was only one rank 7 true saint. Someone from the purple sky pavilion? Elder Zi Xing's expression was ugly. However, he immediately said in a low voice, "What does the fight within the Zhenwu country have to do with your purple sky pavilion? How is it not related?" Chui laughed coldly. "Listen carefully. From now on, the Zhenwu country is already under the control of my purple sky pavilion. Moreover, my purple cloud pavilion has recognized Mu Feng as the new king of the Zhenwu country. Whoever dares to disobey will be going against my purple sky pavilion." As soon as these words came out, the 6th Prince's camp immediately had a commotion. If the purple sky pavilion really had such an order, then not many people present would dare to disobey it. "What a joke!" Elder Zi Xing laughed coldly. "It's true that the purple cloud pavilion is tyrannical. However, the territory controlled by the purple cloud pavilion is far away from the true martial kingdom. How could the purple cloud pavilion be interested in such a distant place? Moreover, the territory near the true martial kingdom is the territory of the heavenly cloud pavilion. Even if the purple cloud pavilion really wants to extend their hand, they cannot treat the heavenly cloud pavilion as a decoration." Elder Zi Xing looked at Chu Yi with a cold gaze. "Therefore, I am certain that the genuine force country that you said is dependent on the purple cloud pavilion is just empty words. Or perhaps, it is just the two of you making the decision on behalf of the purple cloud pavilion." When they heard Elder Zi Xing's words, Chu Yi Xiao and Deacon Long frowned. "Humph, this old guy is quite smart. So what if these words are from the two of us? I am a core disciple of the purple cloud pavilion. Naturally, my words represent the purple cloud pavilion." Chu laughed. "Hee hee, a mere core disciple can't represent the entire purple cloud pavilion. Even this rank 6 true saint beside you can't represent the entire purple cloud pavilion." Elder Zi Xing snickered. "A rank 6 true saint is merely a deacon in the purple cloud pavilion. He can't even be considered as one of the upper echelons of the purple cloud pavilion. If he wants to represent the purple cloud pavilion, he must at least have an elder who is at least a rank 7 true saint." The corner of Deacon Long's mouth twitched slightly. Elder Zi Xing was right. He was only a deacon, and his position in the purple cloud pavilion was not high. Of course, he could not represent the purple cloud pavilion. However, no matter what, he was still a genuine rank 6 true saint. He also cared about his face. Of course, he was a little angry that Elder Zi Xing had looked down on him in front of so many people. Cut the crap. The purple cloud pavilion of the true martial kingdom is doomed. If you know what's good for you, get out of here. Anyone who still stays in this mansion in 15 minutes will be killed without mercy. Deacon Long shouted. "Ha! What big words!" A burst of laughter suddenly sounded. The evil master who had been standing beside Jian Wushuang stepped forward. He sneered and said, "You are a deacon of the purple cloud pavilion, right? How dare a mere deacon talk so brazenly and kill you without mercy?" Humph, if the pavilion master of the purple cloud pavilion said this, I'm afraid he would have some courage. "Boy, who are you?" Deacon Long looked at the evil master. Although the evil master was only a rank 1 true saint, he was too confident. Even a rank 6 true saint like him dared to talk so brazenly. which made Deacon Long not dare to underestimate him. My name is the Evil Master, and this is Mirage Water. Both of us are from the Primitive Palace. Today, the two of us have decided to stay in this mansion and not leave. If you have the ability, you can directly kill the two of us later. The Evil Master sneered. Primitive Palace? Deacon Long's expression immediately changed. Of course, he knew about the Primitive Palace of the Heaven-Cleaving Three Palaces. They were the genius disciples of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance and the Primitive Palace. Under normal circumstances, the geniuses of the Primitive Palace could become the disciples of some invincible saints. If they were lucky, they could even become the disciples of the Principal's Master. They would definitely have great achievements in the future. Such genius disciples. The Heaven-Cleaving Alliance paid great attention to them. Now, the two genius disciples of the Primitive Palace were right in front of him. If he killed them, he could immediately imagine what would happen to him. Without a doubt, the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance would definitely kill him, and they would even vent their anger on the Purple Cloud Pavilion. And when the time came, forget about protecting him, the Purple Cloud Pavilion would probably think of ways to capture him and personally send him to the Heaven-Cleaving Three Palaces to apologize. I absolutely can't kill these two people. Deacon Long had already made up his mind. He immediately said seriously. So they are the genius disciples of the Heaven-Cleaving Three Palaces. For the sake of the Heaven-Cleaving Three Palaces, I won't make things difficult for you, but everyone else must die. Do it! Deacon Long glanced at the third prince beside him. The third prince did not want to talk nonsense with the sixth prince for a long time. After hearing Deacon Long's words, he waved his hand. Except for the two geniuses of the Heaven-Cleaving Three Palaces, kill everyone else without mercy. A cold voice reverberated in the sky. Instantly, the eyes of the 300-plus experts behind the third prince emitted a rainbow light. A shocking killing intent instantly swept out. Kill! Kill them all! All of these people must die! Numerous low cries reverberated in the sky. These over 300 experts all attacked at the same time. A terrifying aura that contained killing intent shot straight into the sky. A large number of experts attacked at the same time. The layers of arrays in the sky above this mansion could not withstand the attacks of so many experts and instantly collapsed. Once the array was broken, the experts from both camps faced each other. Attack! Kill! Sixth Prince also let out a fierce shout. Instantly, many experts from Sixth Prince's camp also moved, including the Purple Blood camp. The Purple Blood camp was worthy of being Sixth Prince's most elite force. The experts of the Purple Blood camp were not only strong individually, but they were also well-trained and knew how to cooperate with each other. Although this small Purple Blood camp only had about 40 experts, the battle power that burst forth in an instant was extremely powerful. As soon as the two sides' experts came into contact, the Purple Blood camp charged at the front like a sharp knife. It directly charged into the Third Prince's camp and then began to slaughter wantonly. The Third Prince's camp was actually instantly shattered into pieces by the Purple Blood camp's charge. After that, a fierce, chaotic battle began. Kill! Kill! The shouts were deafening. Nearly 600 true saint experts from both camps were fighting each other. Jian Wushuang, the Sixth Prince, Mu Qing, the Evil Master, Mirage Water, Elder Zixing, and Xianxia had not made a move yet. They just stood in the air above the mansion and looked at the battlefield. Sixth Prince, the Purple Blood camp in your hands is quite powerful. There is a big gap between the two sides, but your Purple Blood camp has completely equalized the battlefield. The Evil Master looked at the battlefield in front of him. He laughed casually. The Purple Blood Battalion is the most elite force in the Zhenwu Kingdom. Father had given me this force in the beginning. However, after my father went missing, the Zhenwu Kingdom underwent a great change. Many soldiers in the Purple Blood Battalion defected. Some of them were pulled over by Third Brother. Moreover, during the battles between Third Brother and me, some of the soldiers also died. That is why there are only a few people left. However, even if there are only 40 or so soldiers left, the combat power of the Purple Blood Battalion is still very strong. All these years, the reason why I have been able to fight against the Third Elder has been because of the Purple Blood Battalion, the sixth prince said solemnly as he clenched his fists tightly together. The evil master raised his brows but did not say anything more. At that moment, on the other side of the battlefield, Deacon Long's figure moved and he charged straight toward the battlefield. Deacon Long moved and Elder Zixing immediately made his move as well. Elder Zixing's aura surged, and his entire body was covered in a layer of faint purple flames. He was like a purple god of war. He held a long spear tightly in his hand, and with a swipe of his hand, he instantly drew out a large sea of purple flames. In an instant, he appeared in the center of the battlefield. As for Deacon Long, he held my pitch-black long staff in his hand. His body was also suffused with a large amount of black light. This black light seemed to devour the surrounding heaven and earth, wanting to sink the entire heaven and earth into darkness. The two rank 6 true saints instantly engaged in a fierce battle. Boom! Boom! A shocking explosion instantly reverberated throughout the entire battlefield. As soon as the two of them exchanged blows, the terrifying power formed a shockwave, scaring the surrounding rank 3 and rank 4 true saints into fleeing. Even rank 5 true saints did not have the courage to appear around them. In just an instant, the two of them had already exchanged blows more than 10 times. A mere rank 6 true saint of the Holy Feather sect dares to act so arrogantly in front of this deacon. This deacon will let you know today that the sky is very big. Deacon Long's voice was cold. The long staff in his hand suddenly expanded and endless darkness surged, instantly extinguishing a large amount of purple sea of fire in front of him. Humph! Elder Zixing's expression was rather gloomy. After exchanging blows, he realized that although Deacon Long was also a rank 6 true saint, his battle prowess was slightly stronger than his. Of course, Deacon Long was not much stronger than him. He was not afraid of a head-on battle. Kill! With a stern shout, Elder Zixing and Deacon Long once again engaged in a fierce battle. The two instantly engaged in a heated battle. The two rank 6 true saints had their own battlefields, and no one dared to interfere with them. Of course, because the two of them were restraining each other, the two of them could not affect the other battlefields. Because of the Purple Blood Camp, the entire battle could be said to be evenly matched. No obvious advantage could be seen. But at this moment, on the other side of the void, the third Prince Mu Feng coldly smiled. He glanced at the purple-robed middle-aged man beside him. Let them do it. Yes. The purple-robed middle-aged man nodded. In the next moment, he took out a token to send a message. In the middle of the battlefield, the battle between the two sides was originally raging. But at this moment, a sudden change occurred. Over 40 soldiers of the Purple Blood Camp had originally gathered together to form an army formation that swept in all directions. But at this moment, 3 soldiers of the Purple Blood Camp suddenly turned their spearheads and directly attacked their comrades beside them. Hong! 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 The timing of these 3 soldiers' attack was just right. Moreover, their weapons were obviously infused with that special poison. In this way, the 3 of them instantly killed 2 soldiers of the Purple Blood Camp and heavily injured one. Most importantly, the entire Purple Blood Battalion's army formation was completely thrown into chaos. Bastard! Damn it! Cries of shock and anger rang out one after another. It was not just the Purple Blood Battalion side, but also the camp of the 6th Prince, who had been fighting fiercely in the air, suddenly had some people attacking their own experts, and there were quite a number of them. At least 10 people had betrayed at the same time. This group of bastards! The 6th Prince's face turned purple with anger when he saw the scene outside the battlefield. He had long known that the 3rd Prince had planted spies under his command, and he had also been on guard. However, he had never expected that the number of spies arranged by the 3rd Prince would actually be so great. There were more than 10 experts. Most importantly, within the Purple Blood Camp, there were actually 3 people who had defected. One had to know that his side was at an absolute disadvantage in both camps. The reason why they were able to fight evenly with the 3rd Prince was because of the Purple Blood Camp. Now that the 3 people in the Purple Blood Camp had defected, this had dealt a huge blow to the Purple Blood Camp. The Purple Blood Camp's army formation instantly collapsed. It was the same as losing 6 soldiers in one breath, and their combat strength instantly decreased. Without the rampage of the Purple Blood camp, the disparity in strength between the two camps began to show. Kill! 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 Ha-ha! Kill them all! The experts of the third prince's camp became more aggressive and began to kill crazily. The sixth prince's side was obviously completely suppressed and was about to be defeated. It's over. The sixth prince's face was pale. How could this be? Mu Qing's body was trembling, but she could not help looking at Jian Wushuang. When the defeat was about to become permanent, Mu Qing could still hope for Jian Wushuang. Evil Master Mirage Water, Jian Wushuang said. Mr. Heavenly Marquis. Evil Master and Mirage Water immediately looked over. Do me a favor and take care of them for me, Jian Wushuang said. No problem. Evil Master and Mirage Water readily agreed. They were geniuses from the heaven-cleaving three palaces, Primitive Palace. Neither the third prince nor the Purple Cloud Pavilion dared to kill them. If they were not too weak and could not influence the situation, they would have already gone to kill them. Now that Jian Wushuang asked for their help, they naturally agreed without hesitation. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly, and then the Blood Mountain sword appeared in his hand. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, are you finally going to make a move? The evil master immediately looked forward to it. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, make a move. Mirage Water was also very excited. Jian Wushuang did not say anything, but he had already headed straight for the battlefield. He really made a move. The evil master and Mirage Water's eyes were shining brightly. This made the sixth prince and the green prince beside them extremely puzzled. The two of you, from the looks of it, you seem to be looking forward to Mr. Heavenly Marquis' strength. But no matter what, Mr. Heavenly Marquis is only a rank 3 true saint. He won't be able to change the outcome of the battle, the sixth prince said with a frown. What do you know? The evil master glanced at the sixth prince. He said with a sneer, I'm afraid you don't know. A long time ago, Mirage Water and I fought against Mr. Heavenly Marquis. At that time, Mirage Water and the Mountain King were all rank 1 true saints. But the three of us were all geniuses from the Primitive Palace and our battle prowess was extremely strong. Any one of the three of us could suppress a rank 3 true saint head-on. If we were lucky, we could even kill a rank 3 true saint head-on. However, at that time, the three of us were completely crushed by Mr. Heavenly Marquis. We didn't even have a chance to struggle. At that time, Mr. Heavenly Marquis was only a rank 1 true saint. Think about it, a rank 1 true saint is already so powerful. Now that Mr. Heavenly Marquis has reached the rank 3 true saint, how powerful is he? Hearing this, the sixth prince and green prince were a little confused. A genius of the Primitive Palace could suppress or even kill a rank 3 true saint at the rank 1 true saint realm. But three geniuses of the Primitive Palace working together were easily defeated by Jian Wushuang, who was only at the rank 1 true saint realm. The sixth prince was shocked, but he also looked forward to it.